What is up, y'all? Welcome back. It's roster update number 6, and we got lots to get into. I see some new diamonds, I see some new golds, but I see some big negative moves. Now, I don't get into the job of predicting downgrades. It takes long enough to do the upgrades. I can't even fathom what it would be if I had to go through and try to predict the downgrades too, but we see a lot of them, and some of them, little bit aggressive, but they're being aggressive this year, so it is kind of par for the course. If you're going to be aggressive pushing guys up, you got to bring some folks down, so it's understandable. Shohei got a pretty decent update. Got 2, 2, 2, and 3, and stayed at 94. Okay, damn. Things are tough out here. Burns got 1. McClanahan got 2. Good to get him over 90. Scherzer back, looking like Scherzer up at 91. JV Cole getting nooched. JV's is actually a pretty serious update. This is kind of wild that he got nooched. He must have been a low 89. Because, I know, actually, this is a great example of how not every category moves the needle the same way, which we know inherently, but sometimes seeing it visually really helps you out. We know Homer 9 is not impacted in the game. You could have a 2 Homer 9, and you're not going to give up any more homers than if you have a 125. In Diamond Dynasty, Homer 9 does not matter. However, sometimes they update it if there's been a sharp difference to represent the card a bit better, and it will help move the needle a bit, but it doesn't move the needle at anywhere near the same rate as the big 3, which are hits, Ks, and walks for the pitchers. Same goes with the clutch, by the way. So you see 18 points divvied out between those two. He still gets nooched because the big 3, 2 of them go down and only 1 goes up 1 point. So that really highlights what we're dealing with here when it comes to Homer 9. And you won't even see updates that often on it. It's really when somebody greatly changes their outlook. If SDS kind of like feels like, hey, this might help the bottom line a bit, let's change this. Like when Tariq Skubal was not allowing homers for the first 8-9 starts of the year, and he had a 30-something Homer 9 from last year, or 40-something, because of how bad he was, they moved it up. Now, it didn't massively change his overall, but if there's a sharp difference, they do decide to go ahead and make that move. Cole, like I said, got nooched as well. Musgrove up 1, Kirsch down 1. Nola, Manoa, Rodon nooched. I'm surprised Rodon's only an 85. He's been so good this year. He's still a diamond. There we go. We got Sandy to diamond. That was his lock gets. He probably should have been there last time if you're asking me, but hey, we got him there, and that's all that matters. Max Fried goes diamond. And there you go. You see the homer and the clutch, and it's looking like this is a homer clutch update kind of period. That would be why I missed this one, because as you can see, his core skills actually got a -1 for the BB9. I don't know if you guys are seeing this up here in the upper right. Winks NJ. I think he pulled Kyle Tucker twice. I swear I just had deja vu that he just pulled Kyle Tucker a second time. But anyway, you see that the Homer 9 and the clutch, they were enough to move the needle here for Max Fried. He must have been a high 84, and he gets a pretty decent bump. I bet that the clutch, the PCLT there, moves the needle more than the Homer 9. That would be my guess. In terms of like hierarchy, hits, Ks, BB up here, clutch and stamina up here, and then Homer 9 down here in terms of how much they impact the bottom line. Gonsolin puts himself on the diamond cusp. I think this is the right move here. He's been amazing, but let's be honest, the sub 2 ERA is not indicative of how he's pitching, in that, he's not striking everybody out and like walking nobody. He's running as hot as you can run with this skill set, which is a good skill set. I'm not taking anything away from him, but I understand why they say, okay, 84 now, and if you keep going like this and add some strikeouts or something like that, diamond can be in his future. This one's a miss. I'm gonna be a little tough here. I think they got this one wrong, and I'm going to give it to Red Belly in Discord, because I had a 84 originally, and I went back and updated because Red Belly pointed out that he has these sort of missing innings that have not been accounted for Woodruff. So if you really look since the last time he was downgraded, he's at 12.1 K, 1.7 walks, and 6.8 hits in 32 innings. And so I think that should have been better represented here. I'm not sure that he deserved just +1. I think he should have been back to diamond, but alas, we hold firm and we stay on the Woodruff train. I'm not going anywhere, but I am a little bummed that he didn't go because I really thought he had the case when you factor in those other innings. And yeah, the stamina downgrade is a little tough as well. Wheeler gets nooched. Do we have Wheeler going? I did. Oh yeah. So Wheeler getting nooched hurts. God, I don't know if it's that clutch or not. I'm not just going to blame it on that to get myself off the hook, but I thought he was going to go back to diamond. Damn, okay, so 9.7 Ks is now a 68. I gotta readjust my my baselines again, because that seems, I understand that, you know, a strikeout per inning is not uber special as a starter. Like, I get it. But 9.7 feels better than a 68. I don't know. I thought like high six or mid to high 60s was supposed to be about average. The average starter K9 is 8.1. So even if you say 65 is average, which I believe they've said is the case, or not necessarily 65 specifically, but they've said mid 60s is league average, then how is 8.1 is the K9 for starters? That's average. He's at 9.7. How's that only worth 3 extra points? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong player. It doesn't change anything. I got lucky. I looked at the wrong player, but it doesn't change anything. It's the exact same situation. My bad. My bad, but also not. Thank you for telling me, chat, but also it didn't change anything. I'm not saying that like that you guys shouldn't have told me. Of course you should have told me, but it turns out I got lucky that the K9 was actually still the exact same, and they are the same player, and so why is one diamond and one isn't? This is a miss. Sorry, I'm gonna be tough. I think both of these are misses by SDS. Oftentimes I understand, you know, like I don't always fight every time I get one wrong and say like, oh no, I'm 100% right. I'm not seeing it on either of these guys. I think they're both diamonds. I think they're both back to where they've been, and I think they're missing. Christian Javier gets +2 off a robust jump. Someone in Discord said this, or maybe in chat. He must have been a low 81. Oh my goodness. How is this only netting +2? That's tough. I mean, even if you block, I'm putting my hand up, even if you block the homer and clutch situations there and just look at the first 4 categories, I feel like that should have been worth more than 2. But maybe not. You know, I say should have been. That's just based on, you know, what I think that should do, but you never know. If it's 81, if he was a low 81, I guess, but damn, tough crowd out there. I got no problem with the upgrades though. The upgrades all make sense there for Christian Javier, and I had him going to an 83 anyway, so I'm not talking shit or anything. This just looks like a lot of extras. He doesn't look happy about it. No, he's livid. Christian Javier angry. Dylan Cease, patting his glove passive aggressively. He's mad too. Dylan Cease had him going to an 83 as well. Now I saw someone in chat earlier saying that they were upset that he didn't go. I gotta be honest, I didn't have him going either. I thought 81 is totally fine here. Pablo Lopez gets nooched. Cortez down 1. Sevy up 1. That's going to be it for Sevy for a while, it seems, right? I mean, actually, what's the latest on his injury? I haven't seen anything since he got taken out. Like, we knew he was going to go on the IL, but anything? Oh, we don't really know yet. So shoulder tightness, still just kind of like, hopefully it's not too bad type of deal. Spencer Strider gets a big +4. This was nice. You could have definitely sold on the hype because his price was trending well over the gold quick sell. Now he goes all the way up to 83. Yeah, his card was selling right around the 83 quick sell. It was in between the 82 and 83 quick sell. So you could have sold some Striders on hype, but now he's 1200 quick sell. And frankly, like I already sold a good handful. I'm going to keep the rest for Diamond now because his skills are truly off the charts. And, you know, they're actually pushing him a bit more too. If you look, like Strider is not one of these guys that is always like 4 or 5 innings. He can go a bit more, especially with his pitch counts. He's been over 100 pitches 3 times, and in his last, 7 starts. Last 7 starts, he's averaging 94 pitches. I think it's time for a stamina boost. He's gone 5 2/3, 5 2/3, 3 2/3. That's because he got hit, not because he couldn't go. It's because San Francisco got him. 6, 6, 6, 4 2/3. And then the 4 2/3 was because the Mets ran the pitch count up on him to 103. So I think he's shown that he's better than a 70 Stammy right now. And then as chat's pointing out, if he continues to improve the walks, as you can see, he got a +5 here, then that could be plenty of growth. Bottom line, I'm not going anywhere on Strider. I sold a bunch to get some stubs because my bankroll's a little light, but I'm keeping like 30 of him for Diamond because I think he's got a great shot to go. Robbie Ray gets +1. They have not been as aggressive on Ray's kind of return to form, and it's a little surprising. Like I only had him going one extra point here, so it's not beef or anything. It's just usually when somebody had an established level before and they're starting to look more and more like they're getting that back, SDS oftentimes, you know, accelerates that path. Same for the Woodruff thing, to be honest. You know, previous Diamond who lost it this year, if they find that form again, I usually feel like, hey, you can kind of accelerate the path back, but I guess not. Michaelis +1. Michaelis is pitching brilliantly, but he's almost like a poor man's Tony Gonsolin, so I'm not even sure that you necessarily can find the path to Diamond that doesn't include a strikeout spike, but there's no reason to believe a strikeout spike is coming. It's just not part of Michaelis's game. So this is one of those, like, I love him for fantasy, and I believe a lot of what he's doing, but for our purposes in MLB The Show, I don't want to say this is the end of the road at 82, but I do think like 83, 84 probably is. I just don't know how you get Diamond with such a low strikeout rate unless he just, you know, walks nobody for 6 straight games or something, you know, or has an insane hit suppression. Like there are ways to do it, but it's very difficult when you're giving away one of the big 3 categories. Also a 6-7 record, as chat's pointing out, with a 262.98 ERA and WHIP. That's pretty rough. And he's on a good team, too. It's not like it's a terrible team supporting him. It's just they hate him for some reason. They're treating him like... Actually, you know what? Waino's only 6-7, too. They don't like their starters. They're like, nah, we don't care. Darvish gets nuked. Castillo +3 into gold. Nice healthy boost for him. Castillo's looking great. I know there's trade rumors going around, and you know that can go either way too. By the way, yeah, it's not guaranteed that a guy goes to a new spot and is automatically a god just because he's on a better team. It's hit or miss. You just never know. So we'll see if he does get traded and what happens there. But I do like Castillo as a long-term Diamond hold. There is the possibility for him to get there. He has the avenues because his strikeout rate can definitely push further up. And, I mean, we've seen it. We've seen him be great. That said, we are still 4 points away, so it's not something that I'm going to overload myself in. But I would definitely be open to putting a few aside and just holding on to the Castillo for Diamond potential. Urias gets +1 despite his homer 9 getting hammered. That accentuates my point further. I think that makes my point very crystal clear of how little impact homer 9 has on the bottom line. Because he lost 13 and he still went up 1. It just doesn't move the needle as much. That +3 on K9 does way more than the -13. Luis Garcia gets into gold with a +2. His homer 9 also gets tattooed. Cal Wright loses 1 with a bevy of updates there. Bassett down. Gallen and Gosman down to, actually Bassett neutral, excuse me. Gallen and Gosman equivalent. Bieber and Montgomery neutched. Kopech -2. Gilbert, Mania, all down to 80. As far as like, hang on, those dishes are being loud. As far as those dishes, I'm thinking of the dishes. And as far as those pitchers going down to 80, who could lose gold status? So here's the interesting thing. You take a look at these 680s here. It's an interesting group of you got veterans like Mania, Springs, and Anderson, and then young bucks like Skubal, Gilbert, and Kopech. And they've all had an interesting couple weeks here. Kopech, when on, pound for pound, is probably the best pitcher in this six-pack. However, not right now. Not right now. His velo's down. He's inconsistent start to start. I would actually see him as the biggest silver threat here. So that's kind of the interesting thing right now. I do believe that when everybody's on at their peak, he is the best pitch for pitch, but he's not there right now. And so I think he's the biggest gold threat that he would lose his gold. I think Gilbert, I would actually be willing to buy into. I'm not sure that he finds diamond this year, but I do believe he works his way back up. I think he's in a little low that's going to start turning the other way. Not even really a low, by the way, but like just a little downturn here. I think he goes back up into the mid 80s or high golds, I should say. So like 83, 84. Mania, I like Mania, but I wouldn't invest. Springs, we don't really know what to think of him. He's come out and he's been really proud of the work that he's put together. However, it is a reliever coming out of the bullpen into starting, and while they have pushed him a little bit, I feel like they almost trust him a little bit more than like a Drew Rasmussen. Like I think Springs has actually gone 6 innings a couple times, but how much is he going to be protected in the second half? Are they going to get guys, or what are they going to do? So I'd be careful with a long-term investment in him, including in fantasy. If you are heavily reliant on Jeffrey Springs for your fantasy rotation right now, you need to be looking for replacements, because we just don't know what's going to happen with him in the second half. Tyler Anderson, we know how good he is. He's a solid pitcher, and he's maximized on a team like the Dodgers, but does he really go much beyond this? No. I think he's a 79 to 82 type of guy, so he's in his range that he's going to be in. And then Skubal, I don't know, y'all. I'm a diehard Tigers fan, as y'all very well know, and I just got duped, I think, a bit. I don't even know if it's duped. He just wasn't as good. He just wasn't at that level that he was showing earlier this year. I guess that wasn't the new level. And this is a case of confirmation bias. This is how confirmation bias can work. Predicted him for a breakout. He was breaking out through 11 starts. Hey, this is exactly what you thought was going to happen. So I looked at it uncritically. It's not that I didn't know that he was running an obscenely low homer rate and all of that. And I definitely thought that he would give back some of the home run rate. But I didn't think he'd kind of go back to last year's guy who couldn't get righties out and gave up too many homers. And that's exactly what he's done in the last 7 starts. So I still really like him. If I'm investing in any of these 80s, it's Gilbert and Skubal, followed by maybe still Kopech, even though I said he's the biggest fear right now. Mainly because I just don't have any interest in these 3 guys as far as MLB The Show investments: Mania, Springs, and Anderson. Tristan McKenzie, throw him in that group, and he would jump Skubal. Even though he lost one here, he would jump Skubal and go behind Gilbert as the second most investable here. And I would say McKenzie, Skubal, and Kopech are the best diamond potentials. But obviously, again, think about where Kopech is right now. It's hard not to think he might be hurt. And so then you look at everything he's doing, like monitor Kopech before you do any investing. McKenzie dominated yesterday. He looks back. And then, like I said, keep an eye on Scooble too. But those would be the best diamond potentials because they miss bats. Sonny Gray gets nooched. Jameson Taillon lost his gold. So does Clev Dog. Logan Webb didn't get there. Man. I thought Webb could. Oh, I didn't predict him to get there though. I thought Logan Webb could get there. I didn't have him on my list though, so that's fine. The strikeouts are the problem right now with Logan Webb, and there were people in the fantasy community who were on this, and I gotta credit them. Several people, so I don't have like names to name or whatever, but there were people who were like, he might not be quite as good as he was last year. There might still be some more development, or there might be a regression. He might be more of like a mid-tier guy, not a budding ace. Because last year he was at 9.6 Ks per 9. This year he's at 7.7. He's given back 2 Ks per 9. That's a pretty sharp dip for Logan Webb. So I still think he's got a good shot to get to gold. Drew Rasmussen to me is a high silver, like quintessential. So I don't really see gold there. Lauer loses one. Lauer refinding his form a bit. He's had kind of a little bit of a up and down type season. He started off brilliant. Was looking like, hey, plus 2 miles an hour velo. There's a lot to like here. He's missing bats. Then he hit a little bit of a downturn, but now he's kind of on the back up. So I still like Lauer. I think he's an interesting hold for gold. Thor just isn't missing bats, y'all. So I don't really like him as a hold for gold. I love Thor. I root for him big time, but I got to be honest about his skills right now. 7.3 Ks. He's not showing anything to suggest that he's going to greatly improve that, and thus, while gold is possible because he's only 2 points away, I'm not investing. Klubs is probably just a high silver as well. Same sort of strikeout issue. Throw in the health issue as well for Thor and Kluber. And that probably keeps me from really wanting to jump in on him. Lynn got hammered, and I totally get it, y'all. He looks cooked right now. Maybe the break comes at the perfect time for him. I would lay off of this for fantasy and for investing. Putting him on the reserve roster, maybe cutting him. In a 10-team league, if you cut Lance Lynn, I totally get it. 12-team, you might even do that there. 15-team, I'm still not cutting, but I would definitely reserve him. And then for MLB The Show purposes, I don't think you need to be out there buying him right now. He just doesn't look right. I don't know if he's still injured. I don't know if this is the beginning of the end. He's an older guy, too, and injuries can pile up, and you just never know. Like one of the things that we talk about a lot on my podcast when it comes to injuries is once a guy hits like mid-30s, and that's exactly where Lynn is. He's 35. That is the cutoff zone where the aging curve just says they can just pull the rug out from under you. You don't necessarily get any sort of soft decline. You can just hit a wall. So last year, Lance Lynn was a G. 28 starts, 2.69 ERA, which is very nice, and a 107 whip, third in Cy Young, God tier. This year he's at 6.97, 152. I'm not saying it's over, but you have to entertain it because at age 35, with the injuries he's gone through, it simply might be the beginning of the end. And when I say over, I mean more as like a frontline starter. He might refine his form and still be like a mid-rotation type of guy. Like he might be on his, Felix Hernandez, Zach Greinke arc where, okay, he's definitely downgraded a couple levels, but he's still a quality pitcher. Right now, he's not that at all. He couldn't get me out, but actually that's not true. Lance, I know you're watching. You could get me out, but after probably like a 15 pitch at bat, I think I'm grinding in the box against you. He'd hit me in the face so fast and then grab his nuts the way he does after a strikeout. My boy Joe Ryan gets nooched. And again, just to further accentuate how little the homer 9 and the clutch move the needle, the point I made earlier is being made perfectly for me here. You guys can see it's like a sprinkle. Homer 9 and clutch are like sprinkles on top of the rest of the numbers. The hits, Ks, and walks, that's what moves the needle. So that's why he only got nooched here despite big jumps in the homer and the clutch. It's because his hits and Ks got hit and his walks got a little boost. Couldn't quite get him to the 79, 80 range. I do think he's a hold for gold. I'm a big Joe Ryan fan, and I think he's got gold upside. I do wish he'd miss a few more bats, but beggars can't be choosy. the walk rate needed more love, in my opinion. His walk rate is 2.7. Let me see here. His walk rate is 2.6 for the year. In this period, which was through the 12th, so it does not include his last start. This period, it was 2.1. So I thought he deserved more than 4, but that's all right. I'm not beefing too much because I only had him going to a 79, so it's not like we missed a level change. It's not like we missed a level change. I'm still holding him. I've been holding Joe Ryan since the beginning of the year. He's one of my big breakout calls. So you're not going to get rich off Joe Ryan. He's not. If he does get to gold, he ain't going to go much more beyond that. So that's kind of how I feel anyway. Nick Pivetta, he's been getting hammered, coming back to earth a bit. Regression's a bitch. Tyler Wells +1. Tyler Wells, because he doesn't strike guys out, this is more extreme than some of the other guys we're talking about. You see it there, 6.0 K9 or 5.99, but we'll round it up. That's just not getting the job done, and that's really going to limit his upside. He's pitching well, and hats off to the O's for kicking ass. That streak has been really fun. I know O's fans are loving it. But that said, we have to be honest about where Tyler Wells is, and he's a silver pitcher until he starts missing some bats. Hunter Green, we know the volatility there. If you want to invest in this, have fun. No shot that I would do that. Our boy Blake getting nooched. He's had an up and down season for sure. I mean, the strikeouts are there, but nothing else is really right now. And I don't know what's going on necessarily, if it's, command, inning to inning, start to start. You see the strikeouts are still there. The stuff is still nasty. But the walks will get him on some outings. Every once in a while he'll have a home run issue. He's only given up 5, so it's not like home runs are killing him. But it's just been kind of that up and down type deal for Blake. He hasn't quite found his groove. If and when he finds his groove, we know he can go gold and beyond pretty easily. But we got to get him back in that groove. John Gray +2 into 77. Now you see he is striking guys out. He has looked good. Listen, we asked for this for years. We were begging to get John Gray out of Colorado. He's out, and it's panning out. He's finally found some health, and he's looking great. I do think he's a hold for gold. Taiwan Walker only got +1. What I have Taiwan getting? Did I not have Taiwan on the sheet? Yeah, I did. Oh, I had him +2. So, yeah, not elite anywhere, but just doing well across the board, and now sits as a hold for gold is what I said. So, I had him one higher than this, but that's okay. You know, he still wasn't going to go gold just yet. He's also not striking guys out. So, again, it's that hurdle that it makes it much more difficult to go gold if you don't miss bats. I do still like him as a potential gold, though. I am holding for gold with Taiwan Walker. He has pitched really well. It'll make it a bigger degree of difficulty to get there without strikeouts, but he's pitching very, very well this year. Berrios gets +1. I think that's the first time he's been upgraded in a while. He had a big 13 strikeout game. He's shown some flashes of being himself again, but the inconsistency has been wild with Berrios. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. The craziest thing about, a 5, this says 564 on the screen here. He's at 538 because it doesn't include his last start. But the crazy thing is, we talk about game score a lot during my box score show called Boxes and Bold that I run three days a week. And it's a shorthand. It starts at 50. It grades your outing with a whole number, and it gives you credits and debits based on different events. So you start at a 50, and you get a point for each out recorded. So 3 points per inning. 2 points for each inning completed after the 4th. 1 point for a strikeout. -2 for hits. -4 for each earned run. -2 for each unearned run. -1 for a walk. So, ups and downs there, and you wind up with a number. Despite having a 5.38 ERA on the season for Berrios, like I said, it says 5.64 right here because it doesn't include his last outing. Despite that, he has 7 game scores of 60 or better, which is elite. That's an elite start. If you got a 60 game score, that's an amazing start, no matter how you slice it. However, he also has 5 that are 27 or lower, which is just impossibly bad outings. So that, like, he's run the gamut this year, Barrios has. He's just been on either end of the spectrum for most of the year. And that's been the tough part. All told, he has 11 starts that are 45 and under, and 10 starts that are 54 or better. So, you know, the 45, the 44, those are kind of in between starts, but everything else has either been awesome or dog shit. It's very weird, but it tells you that Barrios is kind of close, and that maybe that he can work out of this and find a good second half. If you want to buy low in fantasy, now the calculus has changed a little bit because of the 13 strikeout game, his last time out against Philly on Tuesday. So the price did go back up a little bit. However, you can still buy low on somebody who has a 5-something ERA for the season. And you can tell the person that you're trading with, say, hey, I know you're raising the price a little bit after the 13 strikeouts. Sure, but I'm not giving you full price. What is the discounted rate on Barrios? If you're in, say, like the 8th to 12th place range of your league, let's say it's like a 15-team league or even 12-team league, so you're in that bottom quarter or in kind of the middle of the pack if it's a deeper league, I think Barrios is the kind of guy you go out and buy because you need some big things to turn. You're not necessarily going to find everything off the waiver wire. You need to maybe go out and get somebody that can really take off in the second half. I think Barrios could be that guy, bottom line. And that also makes him a hold for gold if you're interested in investing here. Yes, there is risk, right? I just covered how if he hasn't been good, he's been awful. But there's been enough good there that I'm still keeping some faith in Barrios, and I think he's a good buy low in fantasy and an interesting hold for gold in MLB The Show. Martin Perez has had a little bit of regression come back his way. He still has a sub-3 ERA. I'm not investing in him as a hold for gold, though. I hope he keeps pitching well. I'm rooting for him, but my brain, like, of studying baseball stats tells us that he's definitely going to keep coming back down. Like, it would be a massive, massive, massive upset if he had a sub-3 ERA on the season. It'd be cool. I'm absolutely here for it. Everyone can come back and post all my podcast clips and articles where I said he's going to come back to the pack. They can throw them all in my face. I would love it. But that's not going to happen. It's just not. It's not like he's doing nothing to earn this. His ground ball rate has jumped up big time from 44% last year to 52%. That is definitely helping him keep the ball in the yard with a .6 homer 9. But he has a 7% homer to fly ball rate when he was at 16, 13, 15, and 18% the last 4 years, and he has a career 12%. The ground ball rate can't mitigate that completely, I don't believe. His strikeout rate is up 1 point from last year. His walk rate is down a half point. There just isn't enough here to merit how well he's doing. So I don't want to shit all over Martin Perez. He's having a fun season, and it does get annoying every time a stat guy comes in and says, well, technically he's not going to keep it. Like, enjoy stuff, okay? So I'm not trying to scream from the rooftops that he sucks or anything. I'm just saying 77, 78 is probably going to be his peak. Charlie Morton had a little bit of a downslide start last time out against the Mets. I'm not too worried about that. For the most part, he's been looking excellent lately. And I definitely think he's got a great shot to be this year's Luis Castillo. And what I mean by that, if you don't remember, is that Luis Castillo, through the first 2 months of the season last year, had like a $5 billion ERA. Through May of last year, Castillo had a 7.22 ERA. But he was so elite in the final 4 months, he posted a 2.73 ERA in his last 22 starts to get his mark down to 3.98. So Charlie Morton has been working off some pretty rough beginnings. He had a 5.45 or 5.47 ERA through May, so not quite as high, admittedly. However, his first 2 starts of June pushed it up to 5.67, which again is still not as high as 7.22, but in the last 6 starts, he's at 2.56 ERA with 48 strikeouts and 38 and 2/3 for Morton. That's why I think he can be this year's Castillo turnaround. I thought maybe Trevor Rogers could be that, but no. No, I think Barrios has a better chance of being it than Trevor Rogers right now, because at least Barrios has shown flashes of excellence the same way Morton has. I like Morton as a strong hold for gold. I like Barrios as a medium hold for gold, like a long shot actually. No, not long shot. I stick with medium. Long shot is like Perez. He's a long shot. Carrasco -2, Giolito -2. Giolito is another one we got to talk about. Sorry, I know I keep diving in on every other guy here, and starting pitchers are always the longest portion of this because that's what I study the most is pitchers. Giolito is finding his form too. Now, he hasn't gotten as bad as your Castillo last year. He hasn't gotten as bad as your Barrioses or your Mortons, really. His ERA did spike up to 5.40 on June 22nd. When he gave up 7 earned to the Jays. But since then, he's really regained his footing. Outside of 2 bad innings against the Tigers, he has a 2.88 ERA in 25 innings with 26 strikeouts. That includes the 2 bad innings against the Tigers. But he gave up 5 earned to them, and they came in the 6th and 7th innings of that start. And they count. I'm not saying that to say they don't count, but he was excellent through 5, and then the last 2 innings they got to him a little bit. Other than that, he allowed 2 at the Angels, 1 at the Giants, and 1 unearned run at Cleveland earlier this week. So I think Giolito is a great hold for gold investment. He seems to have found what was ailing him, and what it was mostly was just command, which is kind of nebulous. It's hard to pinpoint that sometimes, but it was this command of everything really. From start to start, sometimes it would be the fastball, sometimes it'd be the changeup, other times it was the breaking stuff. It was just command in general. And as Chad does point out, his velo was down big last outing, but I'm not losing my mind over that. He was still excellent during that. It is worth keeping tabs on, though. You always got to keep tabs when there's a big velo drop. Sometimes it's just a blip. Other times it's an indication of something. I'd be more concerned if he'd gotten his ass kicked, but he was actually pretty excellent outside of the unearned run. He gave 5 strikeouts, 1 walk, 5 hits in 6 1/3, but the velo was down. That is fair and worth mentioning. P. Sandy gets nooched. I get it. This ERA whip combo cannot last. You don't really maintain a sub-3 ERA if you're putting on 1.4 batters per inning. It's just way too much. And it's usually via the walk rate with Sandoval. He is very good, though. I talked about Luis Castillo a few times already. He is a Luis Castillo starter kid at this point. They share a lot of similarities, including the inconsistency. We've seen some of the issues that Castillo, I talked about his season last year. We've seen some of the inconsistencies that he's dealt with. Sandoval's figuring those out too. And the similarity is that they're both first pitch changeup guys. And changeups are touch and feel pitches, and they can go in and out. And when it's out, it's an easy pitch to lay off of. If you're identifying it right away and it's going to go way below the zone, you can just spin on it all day. And you're just taking walks, and if he doesn't have anything else to turn to, it's going to be a tough day for a Sandoval or a Castillo with the changeup if they don't have the feel for it. So it does breed some volatility, but you still see 84 strikeouts and 76 1/3 and a sub-3 ERA. I love P. Sandy. I'm still investing in him for gold. Josiah Gray, he's come back to the pack. He had a nice little run there that earned him this update, but the last couple of games he's given up more homers again, which is kind of his thing. He hasn't quite fixed that yet. I would not invest in him for gold. I love Josiah Gray long-term. Love the new tops now that he got this week, but he's still a young arm that is figuring out his home run issues, and due to that, the volatility is still going to be pretty sharp. David Peterson gets +3 into silver. He's been a nice fill-in for the Mets big time. Keegan Thompson gets to silver as well. He's been pitching very well for the Cubs, and you see he has 7 wins already too. So that's like a bad team, and he was in like a hybrid relief, extended relief role. So for him to snake 7 wins already, pretty nice. Mitch White loses his silver. I think he bounces between like 73 and 76 all year. Unless we really see a corner turned, we don't have to hold for gold with Mitch White. I'm a big Mitch White fan. but I can also be honest about him. He's a 73 to a 76 range type of pitcher. Cole Irvin +1. Jaime Barria just got position changed. Cal Quantrill, Chad Kuhl get nooched. Gomber gets -2. I'll stop on somebody if I think that they're investable. Marquez is nooched. Lyles +1. Lyles has been pitching pretty well for the O's. 456, 139 is not going to knock anybody's socks off, but 99 innings of work. Being able to eat up solid, useful innings is very valuable, especially to a team like this that's actually been a little bit spicy lately. Like, they've been playing their asses off, of course, with the big win streak. They are a tough team now, and he's been giving out plenty of quality outings for them as a veteran of that staff. I think he's like, 32, 33 now? Jordan Lyle's been around forever, and I feel like he never ages. I'm going to be floored if he's like 26. I know he's not that. He's 31. But he's been around for a minute. He broke in 2011. So we've been following Jordan Lyles for a long time. This is his 12th Major League season. That's wild. Tyler Alexander got a position change. Graham Ashcraft +3. Caprillion -1. Flexing on him, 0. He got nooched. He's flexing that nooch. Quintana get +1. Quintana's been pitching well. Quintana has been pitching well. He is still allowing too many hits. Almost 1 per inning. His strikeout rate is fine, 8.2. That's not bad. I do think that should be higher based on what we were seeing earlier. Now, look. Quintana has tiny samples. Like last year, he only threw 63 innings. And in the pandemic season, he only threw 10. However, shouts to Stephen A. However, he struck out a bunch of guys in those 2 years. So his strikeout rate since 2020 for Jose Quintana is 9.9. Why is he a 51? Now, I'm not going to argue this to the death. Like, I think the best that we can do is get Quintana to silver. But the reason I sometimes pinpoint these and zero in on them is because I need my numbers to be calibrated properly to make the best guesses that I can. And if we go back to who was it earlier that I was talking about with the league average strikeout rate, and they only had a 68. It was the Nola. It was the Wheeler thing, but then I was accidentally on Nola. So if 9.6 is a 68, then 9.9 since 2020. Like, okay, the bottom line with Quintana, the miss is that he should have started higher. 8.2 for this year is not that great. I'm not arguing on the 8.2 for this year. I'm saying he should have started at a much higher baseline because in 2020 and 2021, while he only pitched 73 innings, he had a badass strikeout rate. So I'm just saying. And the only reason I think it has a shred of relevance is because let's say he got up to 65 on the K9. That would put him at like a 74. I mean, that would give him a nice boost into the high bronze, maybe even low silver. Then you factor in the fact that he's going to get traded, and he might be showcasing on a better team with a better defense, pitching better, and then maybe all of a sudden there is a potential gold in the cards there. I don't know. I'm just saying we got to get the foundation laid properly, and maybe he could do something here. I mean, he only has 2.8 walks for the season, and he did have 5.0 last year, so you would have to hit that. But he had 2.7 in the strike shortened season, so I don't know. I just think that his strikeout rate, I'm just trying to calibrate my strikeout number, and the 51 doesn't really jive with everything else that we're seeing there, and especially based on what he did the previous 2 years. So that's why I did the tangent there on Jose Quintana. My boy Bo Brisky gets +3. He's a bronze through and through, but I've been talking him up a bunch on Boxes and Bull because while you're not going to be floored by any single pitch that he has or any sort of strikeout rate, if you watch Bo Brisky and you're not impressed by the fact that he's like just kind of that grinder fourth starter type, then I think you're missing it. I think you're missing it because I think he's just like a really quality arm. I've been impressed. I barely knew the name when he came up, and I'm a Tigers fan. That speaks to my prospect deficiencies at times, where I don't always know mid-tier type guys or even lower tier. He was our 10th rated prospect. So yeah, it's like a mid-tier guy. He was a future value of 40 plus. And his comp was Urquidy, who I'm obsessed with. So Bo Barbecue Brisket Brisky, aka Bill Brasky too. That he gets a lot of Bill Brasky reference from SNL. All right, Tommy Malone position change. Clark Schmidt again. We'll stop here if we see anybody. I'll tell you what, this Josh Winder, I do like Josh Winder. I know he got hit up in his most recent outing, and that angered the fantasy dweebs, myself included, who picked him up in the main event. And he's off. I think he got sent back down. I think it's just one of those all-star break things that happens to younger guys just to play with the roster a little bit. I think he'll be right back, unless he got hurt. No, he got optioned. Yeah, this is for the All-Star break. I'm fairly certain of it. And Josh Winder. It's like Sidewinder. He'll be back, and he's pretty good. Now, if he's gonna go anywhere, like Silver, he needs to get the K's back up. But there is some swing and miss stuff. Like we've seen some flashes of some swing and miss stuff. It's not overpowering, but I think it's better than 5.8 Ks. So there is a Twins fan in chat saying that his role is not set in stone, and that's a fair point because they are contenders and they could absolutely get a starter. And let's be honest, for what they're trying to do this year, which is make the playoffs and break their playoff streak, they probably should relieve him and go get like an actual established starter. So I totally get that. So I just wanted to gas up Winder from a fantasy perspective a little bit, that I do like him if he's starting, but maybe not from an MLB The Show standpoint. We don't need to worry about him that much. Nobody else here really jumping out. Oviedo I actually still like long term. I think he's got some stuff, man. I think he's got some good stuff. He might end up becoming a decent reliever, though. I'm not sure that he's going to figure out starting, but I do think that he could be a pretty nice reliever in the future. Costanza gets +1, good for him. And it only took an hour for starters. Every update. Relievers now. Top 3 get Nooch, Minter, King, and Duran. What did we have for them? So I had Minter getting +1. Guess not. I thought that the strikeouts and the walks would counterbalance the fact that he had 10 hits and get him +1. I was wrong. He got hit in the hit. He got hit in the hits. That's not good. He took a -4 in the hits 9. He didn't even get a boost in the Ks. He had 13 Ks in 9 innings, which is obviously a 13K 9. I didn't think that would get him -1, but okay. And he did give up 10 hits. Like, he deserved to get a drop in the hits, but I thought 1 walk and 13 Ks, thought that would offset it and still be +1, but I guess not. I do still think Minter is a good diamond hold. Destined for diamond. D for D. And then Michael King. Did I have Michael King on the sheet? Let me see. I don't know if I did. Sorry, our Roomba's going. You guys might be able to hear it. I'll turn down my gain a little bit and get closer to the mic so maybe it's not as prominent. No, I didn't have King, and then I didn't have Duran either. So yeah, I'm fine with these moves. Even the Minter miss. It's not like I had him for diamond. I just had him going to 84 and setting up diamond. He's still 2 points away. It's fine. In fact, all 3 of these guys are worthy diamond holds. Even Duran, who is obviously much further away at 4 points. I'm still holding him. We invested in him in common. So hopefully if you got in at common, unless you needed the stubs, hopefully you kept some aside and we're just holding those all summer. Because that's what I'm doing with Duran. Dev gets +1, so does Brooks Raley. Brooks Raley got to be proud of that. He just came out and said, give me +1. Why did I think rumors were silent as fuck? They're not silent as fuck, but actually I'm thinking that's a vacuum cleaner right now, by the way, not our Roomba. Our Roomba is not quiet, but it's not that loud. So I think it's actually a carpet cleaner vacuum thing that they got. Swanson +4. Swanson's been amazing out of the bullpen. He is now a hold for gold. Big time. Oh my God, he's been wonderful. That one kind of snuck up on me. I didn't realize he was pitching quite that well. That's brilliant. Anthony Bass +2. Anthony Bass just doesn't miss enough bats, so even though he's only 2 points away, I would be careful investing in him for gold. Garrett Whitlock. Riven, I don't know if you're going to watch this later or if you're in here. You win this one. You win this one. Riven never really liked him as a starter. I still think it's undecided whether or not he can hold as a starter, and I think jerking him back and forth. I know he's on the IL right now, and bringing him back and forth between the two roles is probably not the best, but he's injured right now, and he hasn't looked very good as a starter. So Riven at the very outset was like, no, just relieve him, let him go. I'll give Riven that one. Montero +1. Montero does have a hold for gold upside. Again, and everyone's mentioning that Whitlock's on his way back, by the way. So keep tabs on Whitlock. By the way, let me say, I am conceding to Riven right now that the starting has not worked out. However, I want to be clear, I'm not selling my position on Whitlock in terms of gold, though, because this is only a position change. If he goes back to starter, is he coming back as a starter tonight, or is he coming back as a reliever? I guess would be the apt question. Because if he's back as a starter, he'll go right back to gold, whether he will return in a bullpen role. Okay. So you can hold for gold as a reliever too. He can get 2 points to get to gold as a reliever. Is that coming at us? Let's see if we can block some of that sound. Pardon me, y'all. Look, I know the house has to keep operating, even though we're streaming, so it's not the end of the world. It just got a little loud there. But yeah, Montero and Neris, I think, are both worthwhile gold holds for the Astros. So again, let me pull up Montero now. And I'm just trying to set my radar properly. 10.7 Ks or 11.0 Ks is a 69. I mean, that's nice, but now relievers strikeout rates on average are 9.0, very high. They average a strikeout per inning. League-wide relievers do. Like, that's obviously bananas. But he's 2 clear of that. 2.0 clear of that. Now, he was only at 7.7 last year for Montero. So he is having to, work through that. However, that is the clear outlier over the last 4 seasons when he's become a full-time reliever. In 2019, 10.6. 2020, the shortened season, 9.7. Last year, 7.7. And this year, 10.7. It says 11.0 right here. The updated number is 10.7, but obviously a couple of the strikeouts came after they locked the update. So that's the discrepancy. But the bottom line is he's been firmly above average for 3 of the 4 years as a reliever. I know 2019 doesn't count for this. They do a 3-year rolling, not they wouldn't include that. But just looking at the big picture, is it not fair to say that Montero's better than a 69 K9? I think yes. Bottom line, he's a hold for gold, so we don't need to beat the drum too hard on that. If you got him, you're holding. If not, you can consider investing in him. Same with Neris. They're pretty similar. They're both quality relievers behind Presley. John Shriver gets a +10. He got kind of a redo on his card. They gave him a very, very healthy update, and it was deserved. It was deserved. He's been wonderful, and he's definitely hold for gold now. Eli Morgan is on the hold for gold track too. He has really found his role in the bullpen. Remember, he started a bunch last year, and he would always seem to have like a blow-up inning. It wasn't always at the end, so it wasn't necessarily like the 100%, he can't go deep into the game, but he always seemed to have a blow-up inning. I want to see his times through. It was really that second time through, which means reliever all the way. 690 OPS first time through. This is for Eli Morgan. 690 OPS first time through, 939 the second time through, and the very rare times that he made it to the third time through, it was an 812 OPS. So the second time that the lineup sees him, they obliterate him. But you can still get 2 to 3 innings a pop from somebody like Morgan, and that's what they've done. They have utilized him in that multi-inning role. Now, I think they should continue to do that. They've actually kind of toned it down a little bit. Now, maybe that's because he's actually been giving up some runs. I'm looking at it right now. He had a really bad finish to June. His last 3 outings, he gave up runs, and he's only given up runs in one of his July outings. He blew a save on July 8th. Now, it was an 8th, like, you get a blown save if you cost the game in the 7th or 8th inning too, not just in the 9th. He wasn't taking over for Clase or anything. But he's a multi-inning stud. I do think Eli Morgan can get gold this year. Our boy Chafin, Tigers should trade him, obviously. We're bad. He's old. He was a 1-year pickup in case we were a decent team and we needed a good lefty. He's been good. I think he can get gold this year, and I think he's going to get traded. Ottavino's back to pitching very well, doing well for the Mets. He could get gold as well. I do think it would take an extended period of a low walk, and you can see he's already working on that because he got +8 here. So I think he needs to kind of keep that energy up, as the kids would say. Do they still say keep that energy? Do they still think keep that energy? Gotta be older and lamer. No problem. I'm looking at it right now. So Ottavino, oh my God, yeah, he's been amazing. +8 was very fair. Even if you extend it back and go to June 4th, so a month plus, he has 1 walk in his last 15 innings for Adam Ottavino. That's really good. That's really good for someone who has... One of the issues with Ottavino, his stuff is almost too nasty. It's difficult to command because of how gross his stuff is. That's a fun problem to have when you're too good. Your stuff moves too much. My boy Gigi hurts my heart. Blew a save the other day. Can't have that, man. They're just not going to give you the opportunities if you blow the saves. Now, obviously, he was one of my favorite players coming into the year. He lost the job to Helsley. I always knew he was going to share saves. That wasn't the problem. But I thought he'd be the 70 of the 70-30 split. And now he's like the 20 of an 80-20 split. It's not good. Fulmer gets nooched. I think Fulmer could go up too. The problem is the uncharacteristic walk issues for Fulmer. You know, as a Tigers fan watching Fulmer this year, I've felt great about watching him pitch for the most part. But then I see these uncharacteristic walks, and I'm like, that's not the Fulmer I'm used to. And the thing of it is, he has 1 3-walk outing, and then the rest is just like a walk here, a walk there. So it's not the end of the world, but it was surprising to see such a high walk rate. However, well, actually, no, it is still there. Yeah, with these nickel and dime walks, he doesn't even have like a consistent 2 walks here, 2 walks there. It's literally like 1 there, 1 there. But that's enough for a 4.3 mark right now. Damn, he needs to get those walks in check if he wants any chance at gold. He should be on a new team by the deadline. Yeah, 12% walk rate is way too high. Stanek, but dude, to have Presley, Stanek, Neris, and Montero, that's a nice 4-pack of righties. The problem is Houston's in the same spot they were in last year, right? They don't have a lefty. So, yeah, they literally don't have a single lefty in their bullpen. Okay, I got this. I don't think the Tigers would do this, but I'll spitball here, and I'll say Andrew Chafin for Jeremy Pena if they can throw in something else, like this Bergman guy who's or Bregman. Sorry, I don't know. I barely know this guy, but like so something like that. If they do like a is it Bregman? Bergman? I don't know. I don't know this player. So like a Bregman and a Pena. There's the little thing over it. I barely know these guys. So these 2 junk prospects Biegman and Pena for Chafin, I think the Tigers would maybe do that. Maybe. But I don't know. We'll see. Dylan Tate gets +2. Dylan Tate, former top 5 overall pick. Was he 4th? My guess is 4. I'm going to look this up. 4. Nailed it. Texas Rangers drafted him 4th. Yeah. Chapman -2. Deserved. The All-Star Mantiply gets +3. Yes, Chafin does have a player option, as Chat's pointing out, but he's not. That's not team control. That's why I think he should still be traded. The Tigers should absolutely trade him. Chafin for Bergman and some rookie named Pena. The Tigers are getting fleeced. I doubt they do it. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying maybe on that, Am. I'm saying I doubt it, but they have Hinch, who used to be one of the Astros. So maybe there's like a little camaraderie there, and they give him a little bit of a discount. So that's what I'm thinking. But not if they don't include that Bergman guy. But I don't really know if anything's going to happen with that Bergman guy. I want one person to take this seriously. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Is this guy being serious? No, it's too obvious of bait to actually be taken seriously. Mantiply, by the way, you might not have recognized or might not have known anything about this guy until he got named to the All-Star team. Yes, it is the one per team thing that definitely got him in for sure, but don't think that he was undeserving, right? There's a difference between you got in because of the one per team rule versus you just got in due to that and you're dog shit. Like you're a 4.50 ERA or some shit. No. He's been amazing. In fact, he did get hit shortly after getting announced. In fact, he's given up runs in 3 of his last 4 after getting announced to the All-Star team. But let's take the stats. Let's be generous. Let's take the stats before he got named, or right before he got named. So through July 4th, Mantiply had 32 innings with 1 walk and 33 strikeouts. He had a 1.13 ERA and a .84 WHIP. Now, even with allowing 3 runs in his last 4 outings, allowing runs in 3 of his last 4 outings for a total of 5 runs, all 5 of them against the Giants. So the Giants have single-handedly pushed his numbers up to a 2.31 ERA and a 1.0 WHIP. He still only has 1 more walk. So it's only up to 2. Bottom line, you might not know the guy, but he is deserving. He is a deserving All-Star, and I'm happy for him. Here's the real question. Does he have any good pitches? Like, if we're going to get an All-Star Joe Mantiply, is a juiced Mantiply worth it? Someone go check his arsenal for me and let me know if it's any good. Now, here's one for you. Evan Phillips. We've been talking about this guy a couple other times because he's coming from Common, and I think he's going to be our Tommy Kahnle this year, y'all. And for those of you that have been around for a while, you know what I mean when I say that. Tommy Kahnle, many moons ago, yeah, I had Evan Phillips on the very first update, going 51 to 60. So we've been on this early. Long time ago, Tommy Kahnle was a Common reliever, and he just started having a brilliant season. We jumped on it pretty early. This is back in 2017, and we just kept waiting and waiting. And it seemed that every time he was about to get updated, he'd have a 2-walk outing to kind of ruin it a little bit. And so we'd get nooched, or he'd get 1 point instead of the 2 points. And it took us forever. And every time it's like, keep investing. Then he got traded to New York, popped off with them, finally got gold. And some people had been adding Kahnle's every single time that he didn't go, and they had 1,000 of them by the time he went gold. So I think Evan Phillips could be like that. He's been amazing for them, for the Dodgers. I think he has a real shot to go gold this year, and I'm definitely just holding my shares right now. 10.3 Ks, 2.0 walks, 5.0 hits. Those are all excellent numbers for Evan Phillips. Mantiply has sinker, curve, circle, change. Okay, that works. Doesn't throw hard, but that works. So they can definitely do something with that. And they can get, that walk rate's going to be huge. Now, listen, Velo is still better than not having it, right? That's a duh. I know that. But in this iteration of MLB The Show, in the last couple games, you don't need Velo to be a good card. It used to be that way, by the way, so that's why I pointed out. There was a couple years back where if the card didn't have like minimum 95, the way the pitch speeds worked, you were just going to get murdered. But that's not the case anymore. You can work with a low velo guy, and an all-star Joe Mantiply should have like a 125 BB9. I'm not even kidding. He has 2 walks on the year. So it's going to have a 125, and you're going to be able to put the ball wherever you want. So even though he's not going to throw very hard, you're going to have sinker, slider, changeup. That's pretty good. Or sinker, curveball, changeup, however they split it. You guys are saying one site says curve, the other site says splitter or slider. Maybe they give them both. That'd be great. So anyway, but I like both these guys, and I like Phillips as a hold for gold more than Mantiply, just because Mantiply doesn't miss as many bats. But they are both hold for gold. Poche loses one. Leclerc down. Tepera. Felix Bautista. Now here's a guy. I'm a big Bautista fan. Orioles fans, don't get mad, okay, at what I'm about to say. In fact, you should agree with this. I'm sorry, but this is an objective fact. They need to trade Jorge Lopez. 100%. By the way, Mantiply throws left, as chat's pointing out, which is another great point about him, is that he's a lefty. So that also makes it easy. I know the Orioles have won 50 in a row, and that's great. They should continue to play as though they're in this mix. You should still trade Jorge Lopez 1 jillion%. Because here's his replacement, who is every bit as good, and you found Jorge Lopez on the wire as a 29-year-old journeyman, turned him into something with 100-mile-an-hour sinkers, and you can actually get something good for him. To me, this is 1,000% the Kendall Graveman thing with the Mariners last year. And the only thing, or not 1,000%, because as Noob points out in the chat, Lopez does have some team control. But team control with relievers, I don't care as much. But you're right, it's not the exact same thing because of the team control. But his value is almost certainly never going to be higher. And risking it beyond this year, to me, makes no sense. If I was running this team, I would trade Lopez 1,000,000%. I would still make moves, including maybe the Lopez move. I would still make moves trying to reinforce this year's team. So if you can get something like an Abraham Toro, who I cite specifically because that was the return for Kendall Graveman, a now player to put in your lineup day one, if they can get something like that for Jorge Lopez, they absolutely should. He should be traded. Now, it'll depend on what the offers are, but there is no reason not to trade him because you can still buy while trading him. And as Sire points out, their bullpen looked brutal coming into the year because you can build bullpens out of thin air. Every year. It happens every single year. That's why it was so maddening that the Tigers never had a bullpen during those competitive years, because teams build them out of nowhere all the time. And the Tigers finally built one out of nowhere in a year where we're terrible. This year, the Tigers bullpen is actually good. But anyway, I would trade Jorge Lopez 1,000%, unless the offers were dog shit, which I don't think they will be. I think it'll be a seller's market. I would trade him, put Bautista in the closer's role, and reinforce the team elsewhere. That's how I would go. So, I don't want to not talk about Bautista here. I think Bautista is a nice long-term hold for gold. I think he's going to get gold by the end of the year. 11.1 Ks, 3.3 walks, big swing and miss stuff, throws 99. He's a stud. He's an absolute stud. So, I'm in on Bautista. Now, even if they don't trade Lopez, I still like Bautista. That doesn't change anything. But I do think they should trade Lopez. And if you're an Orioles fan, I don't know how you could really see it differently, to be honest. I really don't. Because relievers, again, they come out of thin air all the time. All the time. Colin Mchugh finding his groove a bit. Colin Mchugh is an interesting gold upside, too. He got gold last year. Remember, he was having a really great year. I don't think he is much different than he was. The biggest difference between this year's and last year's Colin Mchugh is 1 hit per 9 from 6.8 to 7.7. I don't really like that. I'm not worried about that. I'm in on Colin Mchugh as a summer gold. Brock Burke. Now, this is an interesting case of the differences between MLB The Show and OOTP, because Brock Burke is already a diamond in OOTP. Now, a big part of that is that they have a category called movement, which is like how much your stuff moves, and that determines, like, that's basically determined off of homer per 9. And Brock Burke has allowed a 0.6 homer 9, which, of course, as we've talked about at least a few times already in this episode, does not matter in MLB The Show. They gave him an 11-point boost. Who gives a shit? It barely moves the needle. So that's why there's the discrepancy there. However, I do think that we can get Brock Burke to gold. I do find the K drop a bit curious. Let me see what drove that. So the roster update locked on the 12th, started on the 22nd of June. So in that period, he has 9 Ks and 11 2/3. So that's going to be a 6-9 K9, which is not good. Nice, I understand that. That's a tough hit, though, off of 11 2/3. But hey, they've been aggro this year. He'll need to get the Ks back up, which I think he can do. Bottom line is I think he can do that. I think the BB9 deserves more love. He has only walked 2.5 per 9 this year. So I think that needs some love. He only walked 1 this period, which he did get an 8-point boost for, but I think he probably should have gotten more. If you're going to hit him that hard on the Ks, you should have given him more love on the walks. But yeah, give me Brock Burke, Felix Bautista, and Colin Mchugh as some long-term hold for golds that they can't really hurt you, right? Because we're going to invest in them as bronzes, and if for some reason things go south, we can get out while they're still bronze. So these are somewhat no-risk investments here with these 3, and I think all 3 of them have a great shot to go gold. If you want me to rank them, I will. Bautista, Burke, Mchugh is my ranking. Munoz should be in this group too. Let me go, and I'll add Gratterall too. Fuck it. We'll put both of them in this group. The problem is they're both remarkably volatile. These other 3 have a little bit more of a sturdy floor. Even somebody like Bautista, who does not have much of a track record, neither does Burke. But I believe their skills are a bit more stable than that of Munoz and Gratterall, especially Munoz. Munoz can strike out everybody, but he can also walk the yard when things aren't going well. To his credit, his walks have been better this year. He has shown more command with a very healthy 2.3 walks. If he continues that, he's definitely going to go gold. Definitely. But we know his history says be careful there. He can get a little bit crazy with it, with his nasty stuff. But I do like Munoz. I'll put him in this group, and I'll go Bautista, Burke. No, Bautista. I'm gonna put Munoz second. With that improved walk rate, I'm gonna go Bautista, Munoz, Burke, Mchugh, Gratterall. Now Gratterall might have the individual best stuff of this quintet right here. However, he doesn't quite know how to use it yet. And this just tells you how great Brusdar Gratterall is, because I think he's still really figuring things out. He's on the IL right now, by the way, too. So that's why he's going to be last on this list, no matter what, because he's hurt. But I'm also just not certain that he's fully figuring things out yet, and that's okay. He's very young. He is 23 years old, and even not fully figuring out his stuff yet in terms of strikeout stuff and all that, he puts up a 3.35 ERA and a .97 WHIP. It says 3.43 here because, again, the roster update locks on Tuesday, and that's the stats that they put here. He's pitched since then and has a 3.35 ERA. Until he figures out how to miss bats consistently. It's the Jordan Hicks thing. Remember how long it took? Yep, never mind. Sire already said it in chat. I'm unoriginal in my own stream. But yes, I totally agree that it is a Jordan Hicks thing. And until he figures out how to miss bats with that nasty sinker, it's going to limit his upside in something like MLB The Show. And in real life, too, because he doesn't have the K9 to go with it. Brebbia, Nooch, Barlow. I'll let you know when we find somebody worth really honing in on. Alex Lang, talking about the Tigers putting together a bullpen for the first time ever. And it's been awesome, but unfortunately it's been for a very bad team. But Alex Lang has been a great find. Now, the thing that would keep him from silver right now is the walk rate. It's at 4.2 BB9, and that is tough, but the strikeouts are way up, the hits are way down. There is some silver upside here for sure. Just need to see if Alex Lang can kind of get keep the walks in check, because lately they have been. If you look over his last 8 outings, he has a palatable 2.7 BB9. I can deal with that, and that would be a big improvement over 4.2. So keep an eye on Lang. He's for you penny stock investors, right? If you're investing in a bronze waiting for silver, the only way you're really getting rich on that is if you get like 500 of the guy. And even then, I'm not sure if with the new quick sell prices that it completely moves the needle. But some of y'all go crazy and you guys DM me like, I got 4,000 Alex Langs and shit like that. So that's what he is. He's like a penny stock type. Penn Murphy gets +7. He got kind of a card redo, which he deserved. Aaron Loop -3. Hey, he's bronze now. He'll just come up even more in Battle Royale, which is perfect. Speaking of which, we're going to be playing Battle Royale all day today when I'm done with this review. And yeah, Lang was a Friday night starter in the minors. Like in college, he was a dude, and he was supposed to be a bit of a bigger prospect, and then it's taken him a while to kind of find his niche. He was the return for Castellanos. He's 26, he's got plenty of years still ahead of him, and he can be a really nice reliever for the Tigers. Raylo, my boy, gets +4. I love Raylo. I don't really see much beyond maybe a silver, but I do root very hard for Ronaldo Lopez. I just really like him. Nabil Chrismat, I actually had him on the list because he's been pitching so well this year, and I feel like I jinxed him, man. He was the only guy under a 73 that I upgraded this week. I've been tightening my focus on potential level changers and guys that are near changing into something different. Like, so, I don't look at a bunch of 80s that much. I look at guys that are, 81 to 84, 76 to 79, and then 72, 73 to 74. I'm trying to focus on level changers a bit more. But I knew Nabil Chrismat was having such an amazing season that I was like, I want to give him an update. So I put him up to a 73. He only got up to 71, which is fine. The reason I said I'm a jinx is they had that series in Coors, and my man got his ass kicked. His last 3 outings, he's given up runs. He's all of a sudden, he pitched 3 of the 4 games in Coors and gave up a 15 ERA in 3 innings. 6 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, 5 runs, and a homer. Ouch. Nabil Chrismat hates Coors. Body comp alert. Carl Edwards Jr. The string bean slinger, baby. He gets nooched. Alexis Diaz, excuse me. Okay, so I'm going to go out on a limb here. Pretty lengthy limb. It's going to take getting the walks in check, right? Like, he has to be better than a 5.1 BB9. But if we can get Alexis Diaz to rein in the walks a little bit like big bro Edwin Diaz, and they are related. I know I have to specify because I do play the last name game so often and make stupid jokes about someone with the same last name being related to a certain player or celebrity that I have to specify when I'm actually being honest. He is indeed Edwin Diaz's brother. He has to stop walking so many guys or else he won't even get to silver. But if he could have like a 3.5 walks per 9 the rest of the way, I think Alexis Diaz could get gold. Like, that's how far I think he could possibly go. But for now, save for silver and move on from there. Taylor Clark, Jose Suarez, Ryan Brazier. I'll let you know if there's anybody worth getting into. But what a fall for Knievel, huh? How bad has he been? That's been rough. Brent Martin gets +4. Now, him moving into the closer's role, that doesn't mean anything for MLB The Show. I mean, they might change his position to CP next time. Like, That's not like moving from RP to SP. That's just cosmetic. So he's in a more prominent role, which might make you think, oh, well, he should get a boost. He's better. His skills are fine. And he deserves kind of a 68 to 72 type of card. That's kind of the max on Brent Martin. So we don't need to go too crazy there. Our boy Amir Garrett, shouts to him. Joey Kribel pitches every day. Stamina should be on 1,000. And that's just a miss by MLB The Show. He pitches literally every day. We've talked about it. You don't, if you don't know, you need to stop being such a sheep and thinking that Joey Kribel doesn't pitch every single day. Okay? Oh, you think Perez is a real person? Sure, guy. Sure. Keegan Aiken, you think that's a real person? You don't think that that's just Joey Kribel in 2 different jerseys so that he can pitch every single day? Then you're an idiot. Okay? I'm sorry. He pitches every day. This is a joke from Boxes and Bull. Because I swear to God, for like the first 15 games of the year, I swear he pitched every game. I can't be convinced otherwise. Not even with irrefutable data. Jake Odorizzi gets smoked. But did he get out of the rotation? Didn't he just start? Some of these trip me up, man. They do this with shocking regularity, if I'm being honest. Oh, is it... Can they not do a 6-man? Is that it? Can they just not do 6-man to where they have 6 guys listed as SP? Because he's definitely starting. But they have 6 now. Fromber, Verlander, Urquidy, Odorizzi, Garcia, and Javier. And maybe somebody has to be... Because he hasn't done anything but relieve. So, chat's saying that Odorizzi got bumped. I hear y'all, but they wouldn't have changed that today. So this, I think it's because they can't put 6 starters on a team. That's my guess. Because there's no reason that he shouldn't be a starter. They have a 6-man rotation. Are there 6 SPs listed on the Angels? Can someone go check their inventory? Matt Brash is back as a reliever, by the way. I don't have much else on that. Michael Feliz, Reed Garrett are the new ones. No new closers. Hader goes down. You can definitely have 6 starters. Okay, then they just messed it up. And that's okay. It's not the end of the world. But he should not be a reliever. He has not relieved at any point this year. So it doesn't really make any sense. Where did he go? Jake, where did you go? Oh, there you are. Get down to a 65. So if you can have 6 starters, that's not it. So then they just missed it. Again, it's not, no one's invested in Jake Odorizzi. I'm not hammering them for that. Edwin Diaz, Helsley go up. Edwin Diaz has been a god. Don't be surprised if he gets up over 90 this year. I know that some people invest in cards for that. I don't know if that's still a market. I haven't really been investing in that. So, yeah. In MLB The Show, the Angels have okay, yeah, there you go. There you go. Oh, yeah, with minor leaguers. Well, that's the thing, though. On the 4th, I don't know. What about on the major league? Either way, it's Odorizzi. Who cares? Helsley finally gets diamond. I say finally because he should have been diamond. SDS, come on, he should have been diamond before this, but that's all right. We got there. If anything, thank you. It allowed me to get more Helsley shares. It's all good, baby. +1 for Hendricks now. Hendricks kind of had the Woodruff thing where you could have made the case for him to go diamond because there was some backfill innings that have been kind of unaccounted for. But neither of them got that benefit of the doubt, and they ended up getting just +1 based on what they've done so far. Or not so far, but since returning from injury. Either way, Hendricks and Woodruff are absolute destined for diamond. I would not move off of them at all. Clase working his way back to diamond. Definitely hang on to him. Clay Holmes gets nooched. I know that bothered some Yankee fans, but he doesn't strike out enough guys, y'all. And so I don't think this one's a miss with Clay Holmes. Like, he was never going to get 2 points. You can say maybe he should have gotten the 1 point. Okay. But he was never going to get 2 points anyway, so I don't really think your diamond was like right there in your grasp, especially because the meltdown outing does count. So he put on 3 base runners with no outs on Tuesday. That counts. So if you do the full update, he had a really pedestrian period. So I saw a little griping in the chat about Clay Holmes. I don't think that that's well-founded, if I'm being honest. I'm sorry. Taylor Rogers and Iglesias, these are both understandable. These guys have been shaky as hell, and it's terrifying if you invested in them. Now, they both have like 1 billion saves on the year. Actually, Iglesias doesn't have as many, but Taylor Rogers has 24 saves. So even with the 4.24 ERA, you can't really complain in fantasy. 24 saves is insane. With Iglesias, he has 14. He has a great whip, good strikeout rate, but the ERA is running a little hot. Again, you're not making any moves with either. If anything, I'm going to let the price bottom out, and I'll probably reinvest in these guys because I think it's more a blip than anything else. I don't think either is broken. Bednar -1, Sewald, Adam, and Dominguez all get +2. Sewald gets +2. He was already gold, but Adam and Dominguez are new golds. Adam, I think we had last period, and I thought he had to go again this period. Did I have him last period, or was it 2 periods ago? I don't remember. I had Jason Adam 2 periods ago, period 4. He didn't get it. Now he gets it this time, which we did have. He helped his weaknesses the most, and that was the big reason. Was that actually no, it wasn't. Never mind, because he had 16.7 K9 this period, so I thought his Ks were going to get a big boost. It was really the BB9, and when you do +20s on both sides, that's definitely moving the needle a bit with the homer and the clutch. Dominguez, he's been pitching very well this year. He looks like the Sir Anthony Dominguez of old. Right. Let me see here. I didn't even have Sir Anthony Dominguez. How did I miss Dominguez? Let me look at his period here, because I took a fat L on that. I didn't even have Dominguez on the list. I totally understand why he is gold, but I need to understand why I missed. Mainly because it was only 6 strikeouts in 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 walk. I don't know. I feel like this is more of catch up, and maybe the homer and clutch pushed him over the edge. I don't know if he gets there without those. Maybe those were just what he needed to get to the 80. Either way, it's deserved. It's absolutely deserved. I missed Dominguez, but it's absolutely deserved for him to go gold here. I'm definitely down for him getting there. I didn't even put him on the list. Idiot. I think I had him at some point. No, not even last period. Oh well. Missed on Sir Anthony. D-Rob +1. D-Rob will 1 jillion% be traded. That doesn't necessarily mean anything one way or the other. I'm just pointing it out for fantasy more than anything else. Daniel Bard +1. I think we were talking the other day. He suggested that he maybe doesn't want to be traded. Is that what we were talking about the other day? Something about how they might not trade him because he doesn't want to be. Which, that's fine. If he asks the team, hey, I don't want to be traded because I'm comfortable here. I thought somebody brought that up in chat the other day. I don't remember. But yeah, if that's the case, I'm okay with that. If a player says, hey, I don't want to uproot my life, if you can avoid trading me and you guys are okay with it, please don't. I'm chill with that. But only if he asks. Because if they don't trade him just for funsies, then they're morons, per usual, which the Rockies are morons. I wouldn't be surprised if they floated that story out there so that they can get off the hook if they don't trade him because of what happened last year with Story and Gray and how stupid they were. Barlow +2. Barlow should get traded as well. He does have team control, and it's not the exact same thing as the Orioles. In fact, it's a lot different because the Royals aren't playing well. But it's the same type of deal of hey, look at the big picture, KC. Do you really need a 29-year-old, even though he has 2 more years of team control? Do you really need a 29-year-old reliever, or should you not flip him for something substantial? I think they should. Tanner Scott gets +3, although he might be giving that back. He's been shaky of late. Emilio Pagan, home run machine. Dennis Santana, position change and a boost. AJ Puck, +3. AJ Puck, I like him as a summer gold potential as well. I think he's going to take over the closer's role when they trade Trevino and Jimenez. And they can put Puck in there. Soto +1, Finnegan +1, Vespi nooched. Or he just position changed, never mind. All right, catcher. It only took only took 2 hours for all the pitching. Sorry, I have a lot to say about pitchers. What can I say? Will Smith goes diamond. We kind of had that one pretty easily there. He's been doing his thing. Wilson Contreras -1. Jonah Heim +3. Jonah Heim. How much could I have won if we'd have said, hey, Jonah Heim's going to be on the cusp of diamond at some point this year? And I say that as somebody who, I had some love for him in the fantasy world coming into the season, but I never saw this. Like, I'm not trying to take credit for seeing him being this good. No shot. Now, one of the beauties of MLB The Show is he has amazing defense. And so that is reflected in this game, and that gives him a big, big boost. My major concern with with Heim was the fact that they had Garver and Trevino. Well, then they moved Trevino. Okay, good. But then they're like, Garver's going to be the guy. And I'm like, Garver's so bad at catching. Why? Thankfully, it has not played out. And obviously, Garver's out now. Hopefully, he recovers from that surgery very well. But to their credit, they weren't really playing him at catcher. They were playing Heim. Garver was DH first base type. Darno +1. Kirk +1. Realmuto back to gold. William Contreras gets to gold. He joins Big Bro in the gold and in the All-Star game. Love that story. Christian Vasquez. I don't remember when I said it, but it was one of the more recent updates. And I was like, Christian Vasquez goes gold at some point every single year. I don't know when it's going to be, but if you want to invest and just wait for that spike that he will invariably get, feel free. There it is. There's your Vasquez gold. It seems to happen at least once a year. I didn't have him on the sheet going gold. I had him going 79, but definitely thought that at some point this year he'd get that gold. He seems to do it each of the last couple years. Sean Murphy gets nooched. He should get traded, which does matter because if he goes to a better park, maybe he gets his offense going a bit more and gets into the gold tier. Varsho gets nooched. So does Trevino. Of these three, who would I bet on most for gold? Probably still Varsho, unless Murphy gets traded. It's not a guarantee. I know there's a lot of Murphy chatter because it makes sense to move him if you're Oakland with the way they're kind of flipping things upside down. And the fact that he is, he's not a baby. He's 28, which isn't old either. But it's perfect trading time right before he gets expensive at all for Oakland. So I think there is a good chance that they trade him. He has team control through 2025, so they can get a grip for him. But if he goes somewhere that is hitter friendly, I would rank him tops of these three. But as it stands right now, Varsho and Murphy I'm holding for gold. Trevino, not so much. It's a great story. I'm very, very much here for it, but he's not going to go gold, I don't think. Eric Haas has been hitting the ball lately and playing more. As you can see, he got massive boosts in his first three categories there. He did lose power against lefties, but it was still enough to get a 5-point jump. His clutch went way up as well. He has enough power to go gold, but these all-or-nothing players are very, very volatile. So just be careful with Haas if you invest. Jeffers gets to silver. Garver, this is where he's going to finish the year. He is out for the rest of the year having a surgery. It was to fix his arm. Is that right? Let me look. Garver is getting surgerized for flexor tendon in his forearm. So he decided to go ahead and get that done, get recovered, and get back on track next year. So he'll stay at 75 for the rest of the year. Perfectly fine for the elite. Perfectly fine for elite Battle Royale at 75. Cal Raleigh +3 into silver. Now, if more hits don't start falling, he can't go beyond this, right? He can go like 76, 77. But what I mean by that, is like he can't get to gold. But if Cal Raleigh can get a little bit more of a reasonable batting average, there is gold here. This is a really good hitting catcher. I love Cal Raleigh, especially long term. I don't usually get in on young catchers for fantasy purposes because they're just a pain in the ass. Teams, when they come up, you focus on defense. You do not worry about hitting. But once you get the defensive piece, then you can start to pay more attention to your hitting. Cal Raleigh does have 12 homers. He's got great power, but he's hitting 196. And he does have a low BABIP, but that's not guaranteed to regress because he puts the ball in the air 52% of the time and he strikes out 31% of the time. So he looks like an all or nothing, low BABIP kind of guy. So gold will be difficult, but if he could hit like 240 from here forward, that would be enough, especially if he hits like, if he hits better against righties. He's hitting 177 against them. If he can hit like 230 against them the rest of the way, and 250, 260 against lefties the rest of the way for a bottom line 240 with the power, there could be a chase for gold. There could be. So keep Cal Raleigh on your radar. I don't think you need to invest just yet, but keep tabs on him. Like the way I have it broken down on my spreadsheet is I have my list of guys that I'm invested in, of course, the guys that, and then I break them down. Who's on the cusp of a level change, who's my long-term, and then who is on my watch list that I am consistently checking in on to see if I need to start either upping my investment for them or starting an investment for them. So with Raleigh, he's on the watch list right now. I've got some shares from when he was at the beginning of the year, but other than that, I'm holding those. I'm not adding yet. If we see the batting average trickle up, that's when I'm going to start getting in on Cal Raleigh. Dude, Nick Fortes got a massive overhaul. It's deserved. He is hitting very well, but that is a spicy overhaul. None of these other catchers really jumping out except for the obvious one, Adley Rutschman. What did I just say about rookie catchers, though? And you can see it here. He's kind of finding his footing. No big deal. I'm not worried about it at all. In fact, I think he has been turning it up a bit of late. And would you be surprised to learn that this bottom line here, that the 700 OPS actually gives him a league average OPS plus. He's at 99 OPS plus, which is kind of crazy. But I think he's been hitting a bit better lately. Yeah, he has 4 homers. Oh, no, he doesn't. He does have 4 homers total. I thought he had 4 homers this month. That's his RBIs. My bad. But over the last couple weeks, 910 OPS. It's a week plus. It's a small sample. Okay, the chat just goes, 100 is league average, 99 is not league average. So yeah, Rutschman can definitely go silver. He can go gold, but I would not overinvest in him. I don't even know where his price is right now. I'm sure that there's still hype just based on the name, so he's probably not even that investable right now. Chat wanted me to make it clear that it was just Kyle who corrected me on the league average thing, not the entire chat. They didn't want to wear his assholery, which is fair. So first baseman now. We go Goldie. Dermis Garcia is the new guy. Do not know who that is. Good for him. Goldschmidt and Pete get -1. Vlad gets -2. Okay. Freef God gets nooched. Rizzo +1. Rizzo can definitely go diamond, but you see that some of the spice has come down. His season number now is not quite as impressive. Crone -2. So I think somebody in chat was mentioning, like, damn, he got hit hard. Look at how devastated he was against lefties. Now, that's just part of what they're doing this year, though. Big ups, big downs. And that's okay. It's consistent. So he is down to 245 average and a 471 slug against lefties. And this is a great example, by the way, y'all, of why platoon splits are very difficult to bet on. Year to year, year to year, they are volatile. And it's from a statistical standpoint, they almost never stabilize. So even when somebody becomes a lefty killer or he is so good against righties, that is a perception that is not often statistically sound, because it takes like 10 years. So some of your real, veteran types, star level players who've been around for a minute, sure. But, some guy who comes up 3-4 years, oh, he's a lefty killer. It's like, yeah, he has been so far, but it's not bankable is the issue. Someone like Jordan Luplow is a known lefty destroyer. 638 OPS for his career against righties, 902 against lefties. He is at 916 against lefties this year with his OPS, but he had a 690 last year and a 781 the year before that. He's still riding an 1118 with 14 homers off of lefties from 2019, Jordan Luplow is. So I use him as an example because he's like specifically known for destroying lefties. Cron's just a good power hitter who was, better against lefties, but for the most part did not have like an egregious split. 796 righties for his career, 837 lefties. So bottom line, he got hit here. I get it. They're being pretty aggro, and he has been pretty mediocre against lefties. Abreu +1, Walker +1, or got nooched. Josh Bell got nooched. Josh Bell getting nooched feels a little weird, right? I'm perplexed. I've never been this far off. I'm far from perfect. I don't get everything right. I've never been this far off. 3 points. I said +3 and he got nooched. What am I missing? Let me run the numbers again here. I don't understand this. Did I look at something wrong? Again, I make mistakes all the time, so I would not be that surprised. But I don't usually miss this badly. So let me look real quick. All right, in this period, he had a 320 average against lefties and a 970 OPS. Okay, it's excellent. Against righties, 359 average, even better, and a 995 OPS, which is also better. A good part of that, though, is OBP, because he did not have as much power against righties. 280 ISO against lefties, 179 against righties. Did that really deserve a -7 power? I'm sorry, I don't really understand how you can have a 987 OPS for the period and get nooched. I think that one's a big miss. I don't understand that one. I would like some color on that one. I'd like to kind of know what was going on. Because I respect the guys over there big time. They do great work. They really do. I'm not trying to just gas them up for no reason. But sometimes we have major differences here, and I don't understand this one. He's been elite for the year. He's a 140 WRC plus, Josh Bell is, which means he's been 40% better than league average overall. How is that not better than an 81? I know his power's down a bit. From 215 ISO last year to 188. Okay. But I don't know. I'm just not seeing it. I'm really not understanding the breakdown here. Maybe I get some extra insight from Rory. I mean, the clutch is probably hurting a lot. The -13 clutch must be doing a lot of work here. He does have a 727 OPS with runners in scoring position, which is not good. And he was at a 93. So I understand getting that moved down. I don't think his core four got enough love, which are the 2 contact and 2 power metrics. So I don't know. I obviously vehemently disagree with this one, being that I had him going to an 84. So I don't know. Here's the interesting thing about the clutch rating. He hasn't had a good runners in scoring position OPS for 3 years. So it seems like they did this one. This was a catch-up from years. So I understand why they had to move him down. It's just jarring that it happened this period because he has a 757 runners in scoring position OPS last year and a 695 from the pandemic season and 727 this year. So, like, I understand that you can't have a 93 clutch when you're not doing that well. Sure. But A, why did it take this long to move it down? And B, and more importantly, to be honest, more importantly than the clutch, why didn't he get more love for what he's done this period? And what he's done all year? Justice for Josh. No, I think he should at least be like an 83. I do. But that's my thinking. We'll see. We'll see if I can see if Rory can give us a little insight on that. They're always open to talking, and, he doesn't, like, be an asshole about things if I disagree. So, and I'm not being an asshole about the disagreement. I'm just curious where I missed. Ty France down 2. He has smoothed out a bit. He's still a beast. Mountcastle -3. I guess his power's been off big time to get -8 and -9. Arise gets nooched. Obviously the best player in the league, but they can only make him so good. The real problem, jokes aside for 1 second, okay, memesters, hang on. He isn't very good against lefties, right? And I'm not trying to rile up Twins fans or anything. He legitimately isn't. And that is what's going to hold him back for his MLB The Show card. He hits .224 with a .584 OPS against them. He's legitimately bad against lefties. So while I do like Arise, he is not a hold for gold with this bad of a lefty output. And I did put hashtag H4G on the list, and I'm going to amend that. I disagree with myself right now. Even if he'd gone the +1, I had him getting +1 to 79. And usually anybody that's a 78, 79, they're hold for gold for obvious reasons because they're so close. However, I'm going to pivot on Arise and say be careful because his contact versus righty is almost maxed out. It was maxed out. He lost 2 this period. And he doesn't hit for power. So how is he going to make up the fact that he can't hit against lefties? Like, where's he going to get the fix? But he just can't hit lefties. Nathaniel Lowe is my dude right here. Speaking of hitting lefties, that was a problem for him as a lefty. He has flipped the script. The problem is he didn't keep his goodness against righties. If we can get that back on track, then he's definitely going to go gold. He is a hold for gold for me. I'm a big Nathaniel Lowe fan. Garrett Cooper gets -1. Now this is another scenario. This is kind of similar to the Baltimore scenario. Miami is kind of in the mix. I don't think they're doing quite as well in the standings as Baltimore is in terms of the wild card. Miami is 3 back. Baltimore is 1.5 back. So, they're similar. Similar type deal here. Keeping Garrett Cooper does not make sense. First off, you have to be realistic about where you're at. And while they are in contention for the wild card, they're not a top contender. They have Jesus Aguilar and Garrett Cooper. That's overkill. That's 2 of the same player, basically. They should trade one of them without a doubt. Without a doubt. So, Kyle, you say you think he should still get gold because he has a slugging of .471, .511 the last 2 months. But what's the ISO? It's all made out of the batting average, man. You got to do the ISO because there's no real power there. He has a .511 slug this month with a .362 average. There's a reason you picked slug. It's because he has a .149 ISO. He has no power. I don't think he's going gold. I'll be surprised. Barring a legitimate home run spike that is perfectly timed, like the weekend before a roster update, I don't see how he gets there. Is his defense better this year? Can we get them to upgrade the defense? Maybe something like that. But otherwise, I just don't see it. I really don't. Matty O gets -2. It's hard not to see him getting back to gold at some point this year. So I'm going to invest in Matt Olson. It's a little bit of a blind investment. Kyle, I don't think you're going to get it though. June has passed. They're not going to go give him an update for June home runs in August. And he had a 147 ISO that month. It's just not there. I'm sorry. It's just not there. I hope he gets it. I hope Arise gets gold. I've got a handful of shares. I'm not confident at all. And I'm not investing any more than I already have. Brandon Belt gets hammered. We know the Belt experience. Even when healthy, which is a rarity, ebbs and flows in his production. He can be one of the best players going for a while, and then he can look like, why even here? Okay, guys, you're being a little disingenuous on the Luis Arise power. Okay, I understand that they are being aggressive on things and they're moving things up and down in short samples, but it's very clear that the 3 homers in June was a massive outlier with no backing to it whatsoever. He has a 101 ISO. He does not need to be moved up relative to a 149 ISO that he had for 1 month. You guys are really heavily invested in Arise. I get it, but stop. Please. Stop. It's not there. As for why they show 3 homers instead of 4, I do not know why. The 4th homer did not come after the update locked, so I don't know why they're only showing that. I do not know. But it doesn't move the needle at all. Stop it. Get some help. Seriously. Like, you guys are twisting yourselves into some real big pretzels here. Like, he's an amazing contact hitter. But stop. Stop. Santana can get to silver, but that's probably it. Olsen's OPS is way off. Hang on, let's see. Matteo, yeah, he has an 821. This shows 776. He does have 96 strikeouts, so that's accurate. He doesn't have 44 RBIs, though. He's got 53. So when is the cutoff for this? Is the cutoff like last update period? No, he hasn't had... The last time Matt Olson was close to a 776 OPS was on June 18th. So I don't know. I'll ask. I'll ask about the stats. You don't even own the game and you're on the Arise train? Well, I'm sorry, but you guys, you're just not really correct. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I don't see it. Unless they go back and give him some love for that June home run rate, like, where's it going to come from? Because I doubt he's hitting 3 again at any point. And plus he got, no, here's why you guys are really, sorry to belabor this. I am interacting with chat. By the way, twitch.tv/Spore if you're watching this on YouTube. Guys, he got +7 power against righties on June 24th. So you already got that power. So you're trying to double count that. Like, he already got it. It's just not there right now. Unless he figures out something against lefties or has a perfectly timed power barrage, it's not there. Jared Walsh -5. Ouch, dude. Ouch. I mean, I'm not saying it's not deserved. I'm just saying, ouch. Good thing we got that tops now because Jared Walsh has a clean swing. I'll still put him on my bench in BR as a 73 all day, baby. Ooh, speaking of hurt, Max Muncy down 4. We've had this discussion a bunch in stream. There's no world where I can see this as anything but the elbow. It just seems so clear cut that I don't really see anything else here. It looked like, when the last time we had a conversation about Max Muncy, he was hitting for a little pop, and a couple of his advocates were like, hey, what, is he coming out of it a little bit? He's got a couple of homers at early July. He's hitting 114 for the month. Stop. 114 for the month with those 2 homers. Hosmer, Brown, Choi, Pasquantino. Brown could get traded out of Oakland as well, which, they would not, like, his numbers have flaws in them big time, okay? And we're only talking like a silver upside here. But if he goes to a hitter-friendly park, gets on a better team, he's 29, they should trade him for sure. He could see an offensive spike and get himself to silver. Again, for you penny stock investors. Vinny Pasquantino, he loves facing Michael Pineda. He got both of his homers against Pineda. Did Miggy's stolen base rating get updated? If not, this game's a fraud, bro. Derrick Hall gets +8, the rookie for Philly, been killing it. And then Alfonso Rivas gets nuked. Gomes the legend coming in with a fat raid. Thank you so much. I am on Twitch right now doing my roster update, or I'm recording a YouTube video while on Twitch. Thank you guys so much for the raid. I'm going to acknowledge the raid here while we are recording this for YouTube, though, because that is really kind of you. Thank you, Gomer. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had the update treat you well. It wasn't a very robust update, though. I think this was the first update where I said, "Oh, I didn't say it's a banger," because it is not a banger. Over to second base now. Robinson Cano is back in the game at a 77. That is way, 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 way too high. But okay. We'll watch him quickly evaporate from that level. The interesting part, as Kyle points out, is that it wasn't a banger despite being a 3-week period. Right? Like, that is the weirdest part. I had 7 diamonds and 11 golds. And I don't know what the final count was on either, but brutal. Yeah, I don't understand how this is a 77. When was the last time he was a 77? Anyway. All right, Altuve up 1. Edman lost his diamond. I understand that. They gave him diamond. He deserved it when he got it, but obviously he's come back to the pack with his hitting, which is fine. Andres Gimenez is still a diamond hold for me without a doubt. I'll tell you what, Marcus Semien is a diamond hold for me too. He's back, y'all. The bottom line numbers don't show it yet, but he's back. He finally crossed over the point where he has as many good games as bad now. His first 43, that was like the nightmare period where you're like, holy crap. And I cut off at 43 for a specific reason. That was his homerless streak. No homers in 43 games. He hit 193, 246, 251. That is impossibly bad, y'all. And it takes you a long time to work that off. With yesterday's game, he now has 43 games on the positive side. 288, 350, 542. Looks a lot like Marcus Semien. His full season pace, if you take those 43 games, would be 45 homers and 41 steals. Obviously, I don't think he holds that home run and steal pace from here forward. I'm just highlighting it to show you guys that he's back. It's still going to take some more time to work off that bottom line, but you can see MLB never really lost too much faith in him. They didn't send him all the way down to like a 64 or some shit. They knew. Be patient. Let's see what happens. So he's at an 82. I think Marcus Semien goes diamond by the end of the year. And maybe not even much longer. Like by, 2 updates from now type of deal. Jorge Polanco back to gold with a big surge. Jeff McNeil loses gold with a -2. McNeil's been pretty good on the year, though. I only had Polanco going 79. I wasn't 100% sure if he'd get there. Okay, so yeah, it was just such a stark period that I wasn't 100% sure what they were going to do. So I went 79 and gave him the hold for gold tag. He hit 182 against righties, and as you can see, got -11, but had a 444 ISO. ISO is your slugging minus your batting average, and 455 is what it was. That's huge. Anything over like 220, 225, it starts to get into some really good power. So 455 is insane because he hit 5 homers against righties. And then against lefties, he hit 500 with a 300 ISO. I don't understand why he lost 4 points. Did I misread something? Now he got gold, which it's all good. So I'm not beefing. But how did he lose 4 in power against lefties, when he had a 300 ISO. I don't understand. Again, he got his gold. It doesn't matter, but it does matter because I'm trying to calibrate, like I mentioned earlier, I'm trying to calibrate myself for the rating so that I know, like, okay, you know, this performance will get this will get that, to try to give the best guesses. He got there, but this is like one of those things when you're in grade school where you do a math problem, but you don't show your work, so you still get it wrong because the whole point was to show that you understand how to get to the finish line. This showing this work bothers me because I don't understand how you get -4 power against lefty. So you got the right answer that he went gold, but I don't know how you got there like this. So anyway, good for Polanco. He deserved it big time. Story, remember when he was the hottest player going for a couple weeks? That was fun. He's kind of back down to being bleh. He's fine. I don't think he's quite as bad as he was at the beginning of the year lately. But, you know, big swing and miss guys, they will be volatile. And there will be blood. So, yeah, he had a 596 OPS in April. That was horrendous. Then he had an 842 in May, 678 in June, and 659 in July. So like I said, June and July have been back to being pretty meh, but not as god-awful as April. Santiago Espinal is a perfect silver. So I think he getting Nuched at a 78 is perfect for him. Crony -3. The Crone Zone, he hit gold and then lost it. He's been kind of up and down with everything. He did all right in Coors lately, but I don't know. I love Cronenworth. I absolutely love Cronenworth, but I don't know about holding for gold here with him. I'm nervous. Like, let's see. Let me look at his bottom line numbers. 243, 338, 398. The power, man. Not that he was like a power stud last year. 21 homers. You know, not tearing the cover off the ball. Like, it's some pop. I don't know. I kind of want to wait to see till he starts getting on the hot streak a little bit, because I don't think his price will go crazy. Yeah, I'm not in on Crony as a reinvest gold right now. Not right now. Cattell gets hit hard. I don't have Cattell anywhere, so I didn't quite realize that he was struggling. But man, he got some hard hits here. Gavin Lux +1. Glaber Nuched. Birdie Nuched. I mean, Birdie's been the fantasy standout of the year. If you picked him up off the waiver wire, like that's a league winner type deal. Regarding Polanco, maybe it's catch up because he has a 080 ISO against lefties. Okay, that's fair. So that is still tough though, because I never know when they're going to do catch up and when they're not. So going back to Polanco real quick, because it is a worthy point to go back to, because I was like, how the hell did he get -4 if he had a 300 ISO against lefties? And Chatter mentioned, Red Belly said he has an 080 ISO on the year, which is really bad. 341 slug, 261 average. He has 2 homers and a double against them. Okay, that's fair. The tough part, when you're talking about like catch-up stuff, why didn't Brandon Woodruff get catch-up then? Why didn't Liam Hendricks get catch-up? And I know I'm bringing up 2 other examples on another guy. It's a little bit of the inconsistency that makes it tough to do that. That's why this is more art than science. And that's why I always tell people, it's like, I'm not trying to keep the secret sauce away from y'all. But the trajectory of how players get to certain spots and everything, that matters so much. That's why you can't just take somebody and say, he's got a 420 slug and his power is this. This guy has a 420 slug and his power is 10 points lower. That doesn't make sense. That's why you can't do that, because it always depends on like where they're coming from and how it's been made. However, I can understand why they didn't upgrade his contact or his power against lefty because of his season long. But how do we know when it's the period that's going to be the focus, and when it's going to be a larger focus. That makes it really tough. Now, I'm not saying I don't want them to do catch-ups. I absolutely do. But here's where I would... Never mind, that was back on May 13th. He did lose 4 in power against lefties on May 13th. So he hasn't been touched since then. And yeah, his power against lefties, like you said, is 086. I don't know, man. It makes sense. It makes sense when you realize the full season. I guess the question then is, when do we know which way they're going to go? And we just don't. And that's part of the fog of war of it all, I guess. You know? Jace Peterson loses 1. He's been having a great year, though. Brewers fans got to be pretty happy with him. I know he's been a fantasy find for sure. Luis Garcia gets -1. Damn, they're hitting Luis Garcia already? He just got back to the majors. He's been nothing but good, and we're already out here hitting him? I don't know about a -14 contact against lefties based on 46 plate appearances. That's a little stern for me. He hit .297 against lefties last year. That's why he had a big lefty number. It was up at 78. He's hitting .239 this year, sure. 14 is pretty big, though. Castanheira, Jorge Mateo, Luis Rengifo, Rob Refsnyder, Josh Van Meter. None of them are particularly investable or noteworthy here. No new third baseman. Ramirez loses 3 because he showed that he's actually human. Arenado nooched. Machado loses 3, also showing signs of human. Drury and Riley both go to 83. Fantasy folks, be careful with Brandon Drury if he gets traded. That's my only concern, is that he's traded out of Cincinnati, which is a brilliant park, and playing every day as a number 2 hitter. I don't give a shit what Cincinnati's lineup is like. It's not very good. I understand that. But batting 2 every day in a beautiful park, that's inherently good. And while their lineup isn't great top to bottom, the park that he's in is good. India, Drury, Pham, Votto, Stevenson, like that upper 5, the top 5, that's pretty solid. So my concern is that he gets traded to be like a super util and, you know, misses games here and there against righties because he's a short side platoon kind of guy. So if you're banking on him in fantasy, I wouldn't trade Drury because I don't think you're going to get fair value. I would just plan around it. So for example, let's say you're using Drury at second base. He can still be your second baseman if and when he gets traded, and if he loses playing time, okay. But go out on your waiver wire or in your trade market and look at second base and see if maybe you want to fortify it a little bit, because if Brandon Drury gets traded to a spot where he's not playing full time, his value is going to come down like 100%. I mean, it's 100% guarantee that it's going to come down. Not that he's going to come down 100%. Sorry, that was confusing. He's not going to lose 100% of his value. But just be careful. And I say that as somebody who has Drury. I'm a little bit nervous. And I got him in the main event. I can't do shit. I can't trade him. There's a no trading league. I'm certainly not going to cut him. I just got to ride it out and see what happens. But Drury and Riley can get diamond. I like Riley much more because we know his situation is going to be stable. He's not going anywhere. Drury, if he goes to the right spot and maintains a full-time player, he could get diamond. But I would invest in Riley, and I wouldn't invest in Drury, even though he does have diamond potential. I know it's a little contradictory, but because of the worries of the playing time via trade, I can't confidently tell you guys to go out there and get a bunch more shares for diamond. If you have him, just hold. But don't go get more Drury right now until we know where he is after July 31st, or August 2nd is the trade deadline this year. DJ LeMahieu +1, Isaac Paredes +6. I figured they wouldn't go gold here, even though he's tearing the cover off the ball, because his batting average is really low and it's a small sample. This is exactly what makes sense here. Put him to a 79 and say, okay, we got a big boost for you. Now prove it, right? I only gave him +3, so they went even bigger. I respect it. I'm with it. He's on the gold cusp now, and now we'll see. Hey, is this legit? If so, you can get to gold. But for now, we got to see a little bit more, and that's fair. Joey Wendell gets +1. He's on the gold cusp. Dude, everyone's pulling Kyle Tucker. I swear it's like the 5th Kyle Tucker pull I've seen in the upper right corner. Longo +1. P. Wizzy and Chapman get nooched. They're kind of the same player, except offensively, not defense. Diaz +1. Diaz has been playing really well this year. He still just doesn't have any power, though. He doesn't get the ball off the ground, which is going to make it really difficult to go gold. I think he's kind of maxed out at a 78, 79. So while he is on the diamond or on the gold cusp, I'm not recommending him as a hold for gold. I am recommending Bobby Witt, though. His talent is so robust that I wouldn't be surprised if he put up like a 900 OPS the rest of the year. That's not my expectation, by the way. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised. Josh Rojas +1. Cabrizi and Suarez nooched. Urshela, Bohm, Urias all down, understandably. Matt Carpenter with some fat love, well-deserved. That mustache is cooking. He's been on fire. I mean, he should go silver pretty soon if he keeps hitting, but I don't know if he's going to go gold. In fact, I would bet pretty firmly against it right now. Christopher Morel has moved down in the lineup a little bit, but he's still playing pretty well. Brendan Donovan's probably a pretty quintessential high bronze, low silver. So I think he can kind of max out in the 73 to 76 range. So he's pretty close to his max. He can go a little bit higher, but nothing worth really investing. I don't know why Matt Carpenter is, but I'm here for it. So basically, I do know why a little bit, sire. I think he worked with like a billion different people to try to change his swing and just till he found something that worked. I think he changed it multiple times or just like restructured and tweaked. I don't know that he fundamentally changed it every time, but he was just calling anybody who would pick up and saying, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? I think he called Votto amongst the many people that he reached out to because he wasn't ready to quit. New shortstops, none of them. Turner down, Anderson down. Nico Horner +2 to diamond. I did not think we would have a Nico Horner diamond this year. And yet here we are. He's been on fire. He had an amazing period. I'm not surprised by this at all. Great work by Nico Horner. The defense and speed obviously give him a good foundation, but it's not like he's faking his way there. He's hitting very, very well. He's not a power guy, but he's hitting very, very well for average. I agree, Ryan. Very big respect to Carpenter. He put the work in. He deserves this success that he's having. Lindor and Correa and Dansby all get +1. As far as ranking their diamond outlook, it's hard not to just rank them in order because there's a 1-point split from each. Lindor 83, Correa 82, Swanson 81. So it's hard to say like, oh, I like Swanson better when he's 2 points behind Lindor. I think they're all like he is playing the best, but I still think that I would just go in the order of them. Adames nooched. Seager +3. Seager's going to go summer diamond. I feel it. His power's been off the charts. I think he's going to have a huge batting average surge. I don't know if you can invest in him right this minute because he probably still has some residual high price from the supercharge maybe. But once his price stabilizes where an 80 should be, if it does, actually, I don't know. It might not. The market might realize that he's going to go diamond at some point this summer too, and they might be going crazy. I'm actually going to check the market on my phone real quick here. So his price right now is $631/450. Yeah, you can invest right now. I would invest. I'm gonna get a ton. I'm gonna get a ton of Corey Seager. Xander Bogaerts -2. Pena +1 gets to gold. Pena's been awesome. He's just been so good this year. Big time rookie season out of Pena. -2 for Wander. I'm trying to find all those people that, hang on, I can find them. I'm trying to find all those people that were shit talking me about Wander in April. Are they over here? Oh, no. Are Seriously, under my desk, man, I really can't find those people. There were so many shit talking to me about how good he was. Are they in this closet? No, damn. Those people are really fucking tough to find these days. You guys have been really absent out there. Not you guys in chat, but the people that were shit talking me all April, taking a victory lap in April. That's what you fucking get. And the tough part is, I don't want to root against Wander. I love Wander. But there was a little bit of fucking poetic justice that he smoothed out and has not been as good. And I got so much heat in April. 1/6 into the season, I'm getting dogged out because I took him off my, I said, 5 players I'm not drafting this year, and one of them was Wander. And the whole thing was, he was super expensive, and I just didn't think he had category juice anywhere. He wasn't going to be a big home run guy or a big base stealing guy. He was probably going to be a big batting average guy, but that's difficult to bet on because it can be fluky. And look what he's doing. He's hitting 259. My projection for him was to hit like 280 with 15 homers and 13 steals, like something like that. We'll just say 15 and 15. Like, I thought he'd have a good season, but I didn't want to pay 4th round for that. I felt like it was a year early. And by the way, it's all set now because he's hurt. So no, like I'm not going to lose off of that. But injury was not my concern. Injury was never my concern. It was. I don't quite think he's ready to be a fantasy superstar. And like I said, I can show you guys the mentions. Where's your Wander take now? What do you think about Wander now? I'm like, and I wasn't even combative, which I know is weird for me. But I was like, I don't know, still the same, y'all. Like, it's April. Hey, he's doing well. I'll check back with you guys in October. And I probably won't be able to find those Twitter eggs anymore. And I know the default is not a Twitter egg. That's an old reference because I'm an old person. Javi and Farmer get nooched. Rosario +1. Bichette -2. Bichette's just been... He's on that burritos train, man. Just up and down, up and down, up and down. And it's just like, dang, dude. What's the deal? All right. Here we go. Sire found one. I'm going to share this with y'all just because sometimes it's really sweet when someone tries to come at you sideways. On April 19th, should I just do the eyes? Just do the eyes? Oh, wait, holy. I don't know if you heard the beginning part of this. I am not out on Wander in any way, shape, or form as a future superstar. I am fully in on him. This was strictly a fantasy take for this year that he wasn't going to be a good 3rd or 4th round pick because I didn't think he was going to steal 20 or hit 20 homers. And it was batting average related was going to be how you were going to get value out of him. That was my only thing. Long term, I adore Wander. I just thought he was overrated in the fantasy market. I said, how's it looking now? I mean, he is worth a cut in all leagues right now. Absolutely no joke. Like, you should cut him in any redraft league right now. There is no reason to hold Wander Franco for the rest of this year. I'm not, that is 100% serious. Because he's not coming back till what, September at the earliest? So no, you can absolutely cut him at this point with Wander. Yeah, 5 to 8 weeks for a hamate, and hamates usually eat up the power. That's so funny, Sire. That's so funny. Yeah, so anyway, back on track here with these 78. So we got 5 78s here. And what I like to do when we got a group like this is rank them in terms of gold viability. I'm not going to throw in Iglesias and Aledmus. I will say, I've said this about him already this year too. This is the Christian Vasquez thing. Jose Iglesias hits gold at some point every year. There's just a point. I don't know when it is. I don't invest in it. You guys can play that game with his batting average, but he'll go gold at some point. But as far as these 5 right here, I'm going to rank him. Well, Bo, to get back, I'm still going to have him number 1. His skills are still the best of this group. I'll go Bo, Rosario, Kim, Baez, Farmer is my ranking. Yes, I'll have Baez over Farmer still, even though they're 113 point OPS split. I'll still take Baez over Farmer. That's my ranking on a hold for gold with those guys. Tyro Estrada gets Nooch. JP Crawford -1. Diego Castillo, not the pitcher, +2. Nick Gordon +1. Nobody really popping off there. Nick Allen's big update, +5 for Nick Allen. He's a defensive G. I'm surprised they brought him in so low. They brought him in really low. I know from OOTP that Nick Allen is a defensive god. So maybe he'll get some defensive love as the season goes on. Left fielders, we're in the outfield, y'all. It only took 3 hours to get to the outfield. David Dahl's back in the mix. What organization is he with? I love David Dahl, but obviously things have not panned out. And then Estuary Ruiz is in. Yordan Alvarez loses 1 point. That seems sacrilege. His OPS is 1024, which is my birthday, so that's kind of cool for me. Oh, he got DFA'd. Okay. DFA'd by the Brew Crew. That's right. That says Nash for Nashville. Austin Hayes -2. Chris Breezy +2. Chris Breezy got 4 homers lately. His first 4 homers of the season. It only shows 2 here. Again, we need to figure out what's going on with these stats. We've seen some that are like very off. Usually if they're missing like an RBI or 1 homer, it's because the update locked on Tuesday and it happened on Wednesday or Thursday, and I understand that. But with some of these, they're way off. Like Chris Bryant, I'm 99% certain he has 4 homers on the year, and I don't think he hit 2 of them after the update lock. I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong on that part. No, he hit 2 homers on July 8th. That's part of this update. No, all 4 homers came within this update. That's another thing too. Now he got +2 to go gold. Okay, so that's fine. I'm not beefing. I'm not beefing and queefing on that. But I do find it curious. This seems like another like catch-up scenario instead of just using what he's done. Okay. So I'm going to reference the same 2 again, Hendricks and Woodruff. If they got a catch-up, or if they didn't get a catch-up for what they've done previous to the IL stint, why did we do a catch-up on Chris Bryant with his power? Because he has a 294 ISO this period with all 4 of his homers on the year. So they're probably lowering it based on the season. But what is making that decision? And then why didn't Brandon Woodruff and Liam Hendricks get the same consideration when they've got some missing innings? And what I mean by that is innings that haven't been part of any sort of update one way or the other. So that way they should almost be included as part of a catch-up here, which would have put both of them to diamond with Woodruff and Hendricks. So I don't understand. I mean, Bryant still got his upgrade. He went gold. So it's all good from that standpoint. It's just tough. It's just tough. Like I said, more art than science. Jock goes down, he'll probably go back up again. He bounces back and forth. You can almost just invest in Jock all year, like 4 different times when he goes gold, back to silver, back to gold, and just make money off of him all year. Verdugo +1, Schwarber +2. Obviously, Schwarber's not gold yet because he's not hitting for enough average. He's just slugging the shit out of the ball, which is great. He does still have a good opportunity to go gold. Let's take these 478s right here. Vaughn got hit hard. Gurriel got nooched. Schwarber +2 and Verdugo +1. I'll rank Schwarber, Vaughn, Gurriel, Verdugo. That's my hold for gold. I don't know if they exclusively use ISO. I cite ISO a lot because that is a pure power metric, but I don't know what they cite. And you're asking what the league average is. I don't know offhand, and that's not even the problem if they're going off of his season versus league average. But what decides when they go off the period versus the full season? That's my problem right now. It's making our job a lot more difficult. Hap -3, Benny -1, JD -3. Any of them could get back to gold. I mean, 2 of them lost gold. Benny not there yet. Any of those 3 could get gold. As far as investing in them, I'd probably just invest in the order that they're listed. Harold Ramirez +2. Harold Ramirez has been awesome. He's been awesome. I don't know either, Kyle. I don't know either. I mean, second base / homer is ISO, though. I mean, ISO, that's what it is. It is their doubles and homers, basically. I mean, triples too, but not, not just, those don't happen very often. Yelich -4, his power got obliterated. Is this a full season catch-up type of deal too? I mean, I see he has a 393 slug, although we don't even know if that's legit. 383. Okay, so that's in line. That he could have changed it 10 points between the update closing and now. So I guess this is more of a full season thing. I feel you, Kyle. I think if the ISO was good enough, they would get... I think it is more on the ISO scale. I'd love a stream from them where they run down like a whole bunch of factors. Like, just peel the curtain back a bit. Just let us know, like, kind of how it goes. A little bit more clarity would be cool. We're not owed it. It'd just be fun. Stephen Kwan goes up 1. Luis Ariz Jr. right there. Kirilloff +1. I like Kirilloff as a summer gold, y'all. I definitely think 7 points is a lot, and he got hit pretty hard on some of these here. If the wrist is right, Kirilloff can definitely go summer gold, and it's a cheap investment. So let me be clear. Anytime I've been calling somebody that's a bronze for gold, it's a long shot. Okay, just let's make sure that we're clear that it is a long shot situation. I love Alex Kirilloff, though. He's a great hitter. Twins fan Kyle in the chat co-signing. He has 400 Kirilloffs. If Kirilloff's wrist is right, he crushes. He crushes. Lane Thomas, Jesse Winker, Jack Sawinski all go down. Yepes +2, Aaron Hicks -1, and Franchi +1 to a perfect 69. Center field, no new ones. Judge and Trout go down. Buxton, Robert, wow, all the best center fielders got hit. Damn, they just blasted a bunch of studs, huh? +4 for Julio. There you go. There you go. There we go. He should have, he maybe should have already been gold, but hey, better late than never. That's fine. Actually, I didn't have him going gold last update, so maybe I'm talking shit. But this one, I definitely had surefire gold. There was just no way. And now you got to put him on the Destined for Diamond train without a doubt. Now Yepes on the IL? Shit. All right, I got to change my lineups after this. I got some time, but yeah, that sucks. Adolis Garcia -1. That's the problem, y'all. His hitting is so volatile. Like, I think Adolis can spike diamond at some point, but I'd be very careful investing. You see the defense. It's as great as it can get. I mean, it can go up, but I'm saying it's brilliant. The speed is good too, and he has hit for some power. But 237 average and 282 OBP is so bad because he's just not that good of a hitter. So you got to be careful with Adolis Garcia if you're investing in him. He's too high end of a price to just casually invest. Be careful. But J-Rod, yeah. J-Rod is like I mean, it's hard to say slam dunk diamond because diamond is, it's the hardest tier to get into for obvious reasons. But he's pretty close. And as Eazy-E says, the defensive updates coming on the next update, by the way, and we're going to have, in my Discord, we're going to have a whole thread. And if you have guys that you think need to be updated for defense, I'm going to collect all the names, do all the research, and send a big list over of our names to SDS, because Rory said that he would check it out. Again, they'll get most of them, obviously, but maybe we give them a couple names that they didn't necessarily consider, and we can put our little influence into the defensive update. That's going to be the next roster update, and Julio's going to get love there. And that alone might get him to diamond. Bader's hurt and got -2. Springer -2. Taylor got nooched and now he's hurt because they let him fucking pitch. Dumbasses. I don't want Taylor to be hurt. I never root for injured guys, even pieces of shit like Aroldis Chapman. I don't relish anybody's injury, just, even if they're like a bad dude or whatever. A small shred of me is glad that KC is suffering for their shitty move. I'm not glad that Taylor's hurt. But maybe this will be the impetus to stop fucking throwing so many batters as pitchers. It's so fucking stupid. So stupid. And now they might have ruined his trade value. So again, I feel bad for Taylor that he's hurt and that his trade value is hurt. But fuck KC for that. I'm kind of glad that they're getting hit. So it's the copper lining to this, because again, don't ever cheer injury, guys. Whether it's your least favorite team, your least favorite player, don't do that. That's just ugly. Even on a shit dude, like a total shit bag like Chapman, you still don't root for injury. But a little bit of karma for KC there, dumbasses. B Reynolds should get traded or will get traded? Do we think 1,000% or probably? What's his contract status? That's going to determine a lot. Oh, they got him for 2 more years, and then he still has ARB. Oh no, he's not a free agent until after 2025. Never mind. He could be traded, but he doesn't have to be traded. If they don't get a grip for him, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. GT, exactly. Laureano and Nimmo Nooch. Laureano could get dealt. He has team control, but again, Oakland, they're not afraid. They're not afraid to move things if they get the right returns, right? McCormick and Mullins Nooch. Edward Olivares is my guy right here. Now, Benny will get traded. Taylor will if he's healthy. Olivares is going to play the rest of the year. If he's still available in your fantasy league, go get him. And I'm definitely investing in him for gold for the summer. I am a big Edward Olivares fan, as are many, by the way. I'm not alone on this bandwagon. He's a G, though. And I'm really excited to see him just play every day for the rest of the year. Leote, another big Sporer favorite. I love Leote. I hope he plays well the rest of the year. I've seen enough of his bat to know the volatility to be a little too scared to call gold for him, but I'll be keeping very close tabs on Leote. And if he continues to perform well, and gets to like 78, then you'll see a big hold for gold push. Belly, poor Belly, -1. Slater +2. De La Cruz, Grichuk, dude. The thing of it is, he does have a big home road split, but it's because he's been the worst on the road and not even that good at home. He has like an 804 at Coors. I don't know what's going on. I wonder if it's like a nagging injury, because Grichuk is a really solid hitter. Like, I don't think he is bad. Like, I think he's a perfectly capable, like, mid-tier outfielder, and I thought going to that park was going to be an amazing fit for him, and yet here we are, and it's like, this is all we're getting? Even if he was bad on the road but had like a 930 OPS at home or something, okay, that's fine. Like, that's a little bit more viable. But damn, he's just been tough. Duran, actually I think he pronounces it Duran, more of the white way of saying it, Duran versus Yohan Duran. I can't roll my R's, so I try my best there with Yohan Duran. But I don't know if he has the rolled R or not. I've only heard it pronounced Duran for him, whereas everyone does the R roll for Yohan. So I don't know if it's the same for Jaron, then I'll pronounce it that way. I'm always down to be corrected on the name. I'm not trying to get anybody's name wrong. Betts and Acuna, dude, more superstars just getting hammered. Why was this the Armageddon for superstars? Jesus. No wonder y'all are so down on the update. I'm seeing it now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm fucking sorry. I'm sorry. Where the fuck is Juan Soto? Huh? Huh? God damn it, hit the wrong button. You know, Hammy, I thought about that. Hammy says, perhaps they're getting hammered because all-star cards are getting juiced next week. Like, I briefly thought about that, literally just now when I was saying that all the stars are getting hit. But there's no real logic to that. There's no need for that. I'm not saying that you're being illogical. That's a fair thing for you to throw out because I thought the same thing. But then I think through it more. I'm like, but there's no need to do that. There's no need to do that. But with Soto, y'all, this is egregious. I'm sorry. This is egregious. Soto was literally the best player in baseball by OPS during this update period. I don't get it. I don't get this. He doesn't even get anything? Why? Okay, if they didn't want to go gold, or they didn't want to go diamond, if they just wanted to go 84, okay. I can vibe that and just say, okay, they want one more good period before he gets back to diamond. I wouldn't agree with it, but I can understand it. Because here's the thing, I wrote in my note, led MLB with a 1229 OPS during this period, and he's looked like himself since June 3rd with a 994 OPS and 8 homers and 134 plate appearances. The fact that Juan Soto is going to get a home run derby card should not matter at all here. It does not matter. Those two things, the only relation is that they're the same player. The one card does not impact the other, nor should it. He doesn't even get an update. Not even an update. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I gotta ask about that one. I'm gonna do it right now, real quick. No typos. That was a no typo one right there. 1229 OPS, led baseball. You know, I just messaged Roy. I just say, hey man, good job on the update. I don't agree with all of it, so I'm just curious. Did I miss something? I'm not trying to be an asshole or fight or anything, or like say you did this wrong. You know, you're not gonna get anywhere if you're attacking people, shit like that. But I was like, great work on the update. I don't agree with all of it, but always appreciate y'all's hard work. I think my biggest question would surround Soto. Led OPS in baseball for the period and has looked like himself since June 3rd, yet no update. Did I miss something? Fair question, right? Fair question. Yeah, I don't work for SDS or anything, Pat, but I have emails with them, and they're cool enough to respond and answer my questions and whatnot. So that, just to that degree, I don't want to ever overstate my importance. It is very minimal. Let's finish up with right field. Can I speak to your manager? Exactly. See, I'm not trying to go Karen style or anything like that. I consider Rory a friend too. The guy I'm talking to over there. Like, I'm not going at anybody sideways there, especially a homie. Kyle Tucker gets 1, Marte +1. Marte can definitely get diamond at some point in the summer. We know how good he can be. Josh Naylor. I want to be bold and call diamond, but he doesn't hit lefties. I can't do it. I can't do it. I sure do, heck. Come on in. Exclamation Discord. Taylor Ward got hammered. Has he been that bad against righties? That's fair. I know he has struggled. That's true. I did just fuel Josh Naylor with that comment. That's my plan all the way, right way. That's a good call. He wants all the smoke now. He's gonna come beat my ass after he hits 3 lefty homers. Fair. I'll take my Will Smith slap across the face when he freaking blasts 3 homers against lefties this weekend. Keep my lefty numbers out your fucking mouth, nerd. And then he shoves me. I don't know why Soto isn't on the list. That was our big question as well. I sent off an email. We'll see if Rory gives us some insight. Teoscar -2. Can I have Teoscar going the other way? Yeah, so I had Teoscar. I said might get +1, but his 896 OPS versus righty is canceled out by 673 against lefties. So I thought +1 or nooched. I didn't think -2. So I guess I oversold it. Marcelo, same here. I didn't understand that either on Jason Adam. That was the main reason I gave him an update, was his strikeout rate. So I don't know. DC loses his gold. I get it. He'll probably get back there at some point this year, but he doesn't have enough power in the majors just yet to feel that confident about it. So while I'm a huge fan long term, really love Dylan Carlson, I would not invest a ton on the return to gold. Stanton, we know what Stanton can do. He can get hot enough to go gold on power alone. So it's up to you if you want to invest. Merrifield gets +2. Merrifield has been back. This is somewhat Semien-esque in that Merrifield has been back for a while. However, his early season was so horrendous that it's taking time to really work off all those numbers. My man hit 139, 179, 167 for the first 27 games of the year. Like, I can't even begin to explain how bad that is. It is vomit. Like, it is so bad, and it's going to take a long time to outrun those numbers. So even though he has almost 2x that sample of being himself, this is another thing too, like Whit Merrifield himself is only a high 700s, low 800s OPS. So he would need to have like a 1000 OPS to really counterbalance that. But if you look, last 57 games, he's been the Whit Merrifield that we expect. 287, 344, 426, pacing for 31 steals and 14 homers. That's right in line with the Whit Merrifield of the last 2 years. Bottom line, I think he is a little bit of a hold for gold. I think he can get back to gold, and it might be on a new team. They could definitely trade him. Duvall, Pollock, Luplau, we talked about him earlier on a different thing. Castellanos, man, Justin and I talked about him on the pod this morning. I don't know what's wrong. He and I came to the conclusion that it might be an injury that he's playing through. Because nothing else really makes a ton of sense. Oh damn! I didn't realize that Witt said if he was on a contender that he would maybe get the vax. You're not really principled at that point, then, right? I almost respect the chuds more that are just like, no, I'm not gonna do it because I did my own research. I don't agree with them. I don't think they did their research, and if they did, it was really stupid research. That's for sure. But at least on some level, those folks are principled enough to stand for something they believe in. And in a weird way, I actually respect that more than Witt just being like, no, but if I was on a contender, I would do it. That's kind of weak. Right? I mean, wherever your opinions are on the vax, I at least respect if somebody stands for something. Because then what you're just not doing it just cuz? I don't know. Yeah, if that's all it takes, then just do it. You're not really principled against it in any way. And again, I don't really agree with the people that are principled against it. But at least they're against, like, at least they stand for something. And he does have the toe, too. Somebody mentioned the toe. I do understand that. So when healthy, obviously, he has gold potential. With Casty, someone in chat mentioned how he's not pulling the ball. And I agree. And that's part of, or not having as much power. His pull rate is still the same, but his power is down big time. From 47% hard hit rate down to 35. That's a massive dip. And that's a big, big issue with his season so far. 8% barrel rate is average as well. Hey, Heck the Boy, thank you so much for the Prime Gaming. Appreciate that. Yeah, half his teammates don't go in, aren't vaxxed either, but I wonder if some of them are, I wonder if some of them don't support him though, because they're like, hey man, we're doing it for a reason. You're just kind of waffling. Nicky Lopez took some shots at the unvaxxed guys after the game last night. I mean, again, I would take shots at the guys that are doing that too, especially if you're that flimsy about it, like Witt. Anyway, as far as Casty, is he a buy low? I would buy low, yes. Now, I want to be clear. This is a true buy low. The buy lows in fantasy that people really like are the ones that are easy to buy low on. The ones that are so obvious that the guy's going to turn it around that you don't really end up buying low. That's not what this is. A true buy low, it's got to be low. It's got to be bad. Like, there's not 5 underlying stats that anyone with access to Fangraphs can see. Like, that's not a real buy low. This is a buy low. You are simply betting on his history with Castellanos here. Because the power's way down, and unless we learn that he is nursing an injury of some sort, we don't really know what's going on. But I am willing to bet on his career and say, hey, as long as I'm getting a requisite discount, I will jump in here. I don't need somebody to give me a full discount and pay the same that I would pay for a 672 OPS. I don't need that. I'm not going to insult somebody, but they got to give me a pretty big discount off of where Castellanos went at the beginning of the year. So, I've heard people say the toe was fake so he didn't lose his games. Oh, wow. I mean, that's an easy conspiracy that, like, makes sense logically, but if we don't really have anything on that, it's just one of those that's, like, unprovable type deal. at some point as an org. I disagree, Jets. Why is that? You can't force them. You literally can't force them. They have a choice. No, I mean, guys, jokes aside, you can't force them. Anyway, this is going to wrap up the update here. This one was a long one. A lot of tangents. Hopefully a lot of them had value, though. I know some of them probably went a bit too long here. We did do a 3-hour video, but there was a lot to cover and a lot of insights. And then there were some big questions that we had that we just tried to get to the bottom of that maybe we'll get some insight for. Again, I do these on Twitch live on update days, twitch.tv/sport. If you're watching this on YouTube, appreciate you. Come on through anytime. And next update, hopefully we get more of a banger, because this one wasn't banger-esque. And we got plenty of things to still invest in, though. I mentioned a bunch of guys, lots to still do. I'll have a hold for gold list out for the All-Star break as well. So if you're a subscriber to the Twitch chat, I will have that in our investment channel in the Discord. Anyway, thanks for watching. Peace.